What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. This is certainly going to be a yet another later in the evening live stream. We don't normally do live streams this late, but it is what 97 days until election day, and to some degree, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, the hits just keep on coming. There's the news cycle is moving so fast. It's amazing that someone actually took a hit on Trump's life, what, less than 2 weeks ago, and it is virtually completely out of the news, with the exception of the Secret Service being grilled on it. I mean, there is so much news that is continuing to come in day after day after day that whatever is relevant today is essentially irrelevant tomorrow. Just think, an assassination attempt, and that is completely out of the news cycle. You can't make this stuff up. But I do want to come to you because once again, as I just stated, the news cycle moves so quickly that we want to cover it to some degree. I want to hear from the folks and get an opinion on some of this stuff before it moves on and it's on to something else. Now, obviously, as you see, the live stream is titled Trump is pursuing the black vote. And that's actually something good for president. I just want to turn off my, just in case you guys were having trouble hearing me on TikTok. Certainly want to give Trump credit for pursuing the black vote. After all, there's a hell of a lot of folks that just simply say that Trump is, intolerant, a bigot, a racist, or something like that, and write him off. The fact that Trump is, going into African American precincts and taking interviews from African Americans compared to the likes of Bush, Romney, and many other Republican predecessors, he's making the effort. So I do believe he should get credit for that. He is making the effort. Unfortunately for President Trump, though, a lot of the things he says may not be helping him. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, I got a few clips I want to play for you because it got to be quite interesting. I'm sure many of you folks know that he had an interview today. It's making all the news. And I see in the comments, Smooth One says F for effort. Well, like I said, the guy went into precincts and things like that, was willing to sit down and talk to African Americans in a way that most Republican politicians do not do. And I think he deserves some credit for that. Regardless if you think he did okay or he performed miserably, the fact is he did go and sit down and talk to some folks. And today, this interview he did today, he went in there, whereas he was told that his adversary, his opponent, whether it be Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, was supposed to be there too, and he was there alone. So, and not only did he go there and he went there and attempted to stand his ground, they were a half hour late. They were operating on, as we say in the hood, colored people time. They made Trump wait for a half hour. So the fact that he didn't leave, I mean, wherever Trump is invited to, give an interview, you got to show the man the decency of being on time. The fact that he was willing to wait around for a half hour, he deserves some credit for that. He absolutely deserves some credit for that. But we do want to talk about what came out of the interview. We do want to talk about what was said in the interview because I do want to get your opinion on what took place. First of all, biggest one I think that is really worthy of discussing, and I'll play the clip for you because I think I think it's incredibly telling. I would not have expected this from President Trump, but if it hadn't came out of his mouth, I might think that the left-wing media or somebody was doing a hit job on the guy. This was at the National Association of Black Journalists. I'm sure everybody's heard this. This happened earlier today. But here's a question. Harris Faulkner. Now, all of the women interviewing Trump are African American, but we know Harris Faulkner is a Fox News staple. She is, for the most part, she leans right. She's pro-Trump. Here is a question she asked him.
This decision is important this time. Bad things happen. You said it twice. When you look at JD Vance, is he ready on day one?
Does he what?
Ready on day one, if he has to be.
I've always had great respect for him, and for the other candidates too. But I will say this, and I think this is well documented. Historically, the vice president, in terms of the election, does not have any impact. I mean, virtually no impact. You have 2 or 3 days where there's a lot of commotion as to who, like you're having it on the Democrat side, who it's going to be. And then that dies down, and it's all about the presidential pick. Virtually never has it mattered. Maybe Lyndon Johnson mattered for different reasons.
Now, he is suggesting the vice president has zero impact. In other words, now keep in mind, not only did he say the vice presidential pick has zero impact, he never answered her question whether vice presidential candidate JD Vance would be ready on day one. Now, I could play some more of it because I know a lot of my beloved Maga are going to say, well, you know, we need to hear the rest of it. It wasn't taken in context. He doesn't get around to saying that JD Vance is ready. He does not get around to saying yes. By the way, this is a yes or no question. This is a yes or no question. She simply asked him, is JD Vance ready on day one? That is as clear of a yes or no question as you can be. He never used the word yes. So I do believe that is telling. But for you folks that are just joining in, yeah, the first topic we're going to be asking is it possible that JD Vance may not make the ticket? This is kind of telling on how Trump may feel about JD Vance. But once again,
on day one?
Does he what?
Ready on day one, if he has to be.
I've always had great respect for him, and for the other candidates too. But I will say this, and I think this is well documented. Historically, the vice president, in terms of the election, does not have any impact. I mean, virtually no impact. You have 2 or 3 days where there's a lot of commotion as to who, like you're having it on the Democrat side, who it's going to be. And then that dies down, and it's all about the presidential pick. Virtually never has it mattered. Maybe Lyndon Johnson mattered for different reasons of what we're talking about, not for vote reasons, but for political reasons, other political reasons. But historically, the choice of a vice president makes no difference. You're voting for the president, and you can have a vice president who's outstanding in every way, and I think JD is. I think that all of them would have been.
And he goes on, by the way, to basically say any of the picks would have been decent. How does this make JD Vance feel? I mean, you gotta wonder, how does this make JD Vance feel? He clearly did not answer that question. Simple question, simple as day. Is JD Vance ready on day one? And he gives you everything but a yes. Points to, well, I think all of them would have been a good pick, like Rubio, I suppose, and the rest of them. I gotta talk. I want to speak to my beloved Mag on this one because I would like to hear the folks that support Trump on what they think of that answer, because I really think it's fairly telling. Well, we're going to talk about a couple other topics. One being Trump is continuing to suggest that Kamala, I'm about to say Kamala because I've been listening to the clip so much, but Kamala Harris, Trump is continuing to suggest that she's anything but black. But here is a 42-second clip I found to be very interesting.
Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always identified as a black woman. She went to a historically black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear,
is there any like old pictures of Kamala wearing maybe native Indian, because Indian women had some of them put the dot on their head. I mean, they're very, very religious over there. Where is he getting this from? That she was Indian the whole time, and then she just turned black a couple. I mean, she went to a historically black college, so she went to an HBCU. she is from a black sorority. She was born and raised in Oakland. Like, where is he getting this from that she only turned black a few years ago? Wow. So I just want to point this out, and I'm going to ask the obvious question before I go to the comment section and into the box. Now, the title of the video, you see my live stream is titled "Trump Pursues the Black Vote," and I really think that's what he's trying to do. Fair enough. That's something admirable that Trump is trying to do, trying to get the black vote. After all, he was climbing with African Americans when he was going against Biden. So that's a good thing that he's willing to reach out and try to, try to acquire some black votes. There's nothing wrong with that. But is there anybody that believes this course of action, continuing to suggest Kamala Harris is not black and she's Jamaican or in Native Indian, is there anybody that believes this is helping him out with the black community? Is there anybody that believes that? Because he's obviously doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on this. This is obviously not the first time he is saying this. Is there anybody that believes that this is helping him out with the black community? Now, I will tell you this. He had a rally after this. He went to Pennsylvania. Shout out to the guy. He holds his rallies. He goes back out there even after, somebody tried to take his life. But this works with MAGA, suggesting that she's a black person that's, an Indian person that's perpetrating and pretending to be a black person. There's no doubt MAGA eats this up. It went well at the rallies. But the audience here is a black audience. And there's far more boos and outrage you can hear in the audience. So is there anybody that believes this is bringing him or increasing his support among the African American community? And last but not least, before we go ahead and start talking to the folks, this is yet another 40-second clip. Once again, I'll leave it up to President Trump.
A lot of the journalists in this room are black. I will tell you that coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking black jobs. You had the best.
What exactly is a black job, sir?
A black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody that has a job.
All right.
And they're taking the employment away from black people. They're coming in, they're invading. It's an invasion of millions of people, probably 15, 16, 17 million people. I have a feeling it's much more than that. And everybody's been seeing what's happened. The first group of people, the black population, is affected most by that. And Kamala is allowing it to happen. She's the border czar. She's the worst border czar in the history of the world. There's never been a border czar like this.
Now, I'm just going to say before we
get
into the program, I do want to keep stating that I do give Trump a significant amount of credit to doing this. Shout out to Trump for going into what literally was a lion's den. There was no denying he knew that it was not going to be, a cakewalk for him. He went in there. Now, we'll talk about how did he do, but shout out that he actually went in there. So let me go straight to the box. I'm going to skip over the comments. Kind of an abbreviated live tonight. I'm going to go straight to the box, rather, and let's make it happen. Starting out with Chief Cook 5-3. Good evening, Chief Cook. Now,
hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. So, you got a loud background.
I'll back up. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. How do you think? Do you think he did okay? You think he handled these questions okay?
I didn't see a lot of it. I saw a lot of clips of it. It can be ups and downs. The first format, I did saw that part when he came in and sat down and she asked me questions. I saw that root part, and I saw the clip. She was talking to the lady from Fox News. But no, I agree with you. He took a big challenge to step in the lion's den. That was a big ball. I didn't expect that. He said that when he came in good faith, he thought that Kamala was a beater as well, and found out she was not going to beat her. So I can agree with on that. But he got balls for that. And answer your question about Kamala, there is a picture of her when she was younger. She was standing next to her mama wearing an Indian garment.
How far back are we going, though?
I think she was maybe Ooh, she was young, so I'm thinking maybe she was 20 something.
Yeah, you know she's almost like 60 now, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
she was young, so I'm thinking maybe 20 something, right? 30. But there is there is a picture of her in Indian garment,
Yeah.
and her mama standing right next to her.
Yeah, but do you think she regularly goes around portraying herself as an Indian? If it's, you know, you may be able to find a picture of me when I was a young man. Remember I don't know if you remember the old African medallions we used to wear. They were red, black, and green. I mean, I wore one of those. That don't mean I'm trying to.
Fight the power and all that.
Yeah.
Stuff. Hey, Malcolm X this and Malcolm X that. Yeah, well, I remember all that. I was part of that stuff. Yeah.
Right. So you go back and find a picture of a black man in America wearing that. That don't mean he's straight out of Africa, do it?
Yeah, but she said, but like you said, she said she's Indian. She always said I'm Indian, and then all of a sudden, she came in politics. Now I'm a whole thing. Oh, I'm different now. No, if it acts like a duck, look like a duck, must be a duck. No offense, but no, that's what it is. I think she claimed it. She didn't. She didn't marry black, so she didn't act black. She got the look.
What do you mean by, what exactly do you mean by acting black?
Well, no, she does a dance. She does it. I know she's in sorority, all that stuff like that. But doing that stuff like that in front of camera, I think there's different behind the camera. Oh.
Let me ask you, behind the camera, do you think she acts more like she's from India?
Who knows, man?
Well, you can't say who knows. Trump is saying that she's from India, and so are you. You can't say who knows when you're asked that question.
I don't think she's Indian. I don't think she's Indian, but she does. Like I said, she didn't wear any garments today. Like I said, I saw a picture. She was young. But now she's 60 now, so I don't think she do anything like. But she has cooked Indian. I think she was on Rachel. What's that chick with the Rachel show, the cook show? She was cooking Indian food, and she talked about Mama did this and Mama did that, and she tried to cook this Indian food and stuff like that. She was doing all that stuff, and she said she learned all that stuff from Mama and Grandmama, and so.
Let me ask you now: Are you African American?
I'm pro-African American.
You are what?
I get black as you.
Okay. Do you personally see her as not being a black person?
No. And I'm being real. No, because I haven't seen she done anything. Black. Look at VP print. The VP pick. It's all white. I don't see anybody see anything about other minorities and anything like that. I'm hearing white governor this and white governor that. If she put it, she would say, well, put some mixed pictures in there. I ain't see anything like that. All I'm hearing is white governor here, white governor there.
I don't get what. Okay, wait a minute. I don't get what you're going with this. I asked you, do you as a black person see Kamala Harris as a black person?
No.
Okay. What do you see her as?
As an Indian peasant as black.
Oh.
And they say, yes, we a different kind of shade, but that's what I see.
Okay.
Why would color? But I think she is. I think she, I'm not trying to be racist or anything like that, but I think she's just passing as someone else.
How long do you think? Now, Trump makes it sound like she just did this a few years ago. Do you agree with him?
I can't say again.
Trump makes it sound like she just decided to start doing this a few years ago. Do you agree with him?
Some parts of it, yes. You do anything. You do anything to get vote. So if you gonna do anything to get vote, yeah. But like I said, because remember during the debate with her and Biden, she said I was a little Indian girl from and she's poor. This I forget what the speech was, but she said I remember she said something about I was a poor little Indian girl, and she called him out, and that time two coming days later, I'm VP, greatest thing since apple pie. Yeah, we did it. We a team now.
Now obviously when she said I'm a poor little Indian girl, she wasn't talking about being near 60 years of age. Now she's been she's been an attorney general. She's been a district attorney in California. She's been the senator. When she was senator for 4 years? Did you see her as being an Indian there?
No, I just So I just saw the senator. I ain't see anything after until people long before this happened. No, everybody saying that she was in there. So okay, well I didn't know that. No, I know she was dating Montel Williams. And I thought at first everybody thought she was mixed. And then I was like, I said, what do you mean she's in there? She don't look like. I thought I didn't see the red dot like. What that red dot they put on their face?
I've never seen a photo of her as an adult with a red dot on her.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, I'm here like, what do you mean in there? So I did my research and that's what they said. No, I know her dad was Jamaican and her mom was in there, but no.
Do you not see Jamaicans as black people?
I think they mix because I think a lot of people say I know what the story about Jamaica and the mixed culture between white and black and the whole that thing. So I think just a mixture of this kind of race.
So you refer to Jamaicans as mixed. You don't refer to them as black.
Not pure black, like pure African black. I think Jamaica. I know the story. They brought blacks over there and they started just mix sure with the Korean race. I think it was Korean. I'm trying to be right here. But I know there was a lot of mixture there. So a lot of things happened when Jamaica was created. So.
Okay. Well, going by that notion there, Chief, most people have. Wait, hold on. Most people have more than one ancestry in them. I mean, you're making it sound like you got to be a purebred.
Yeah. I mean, my mom went to Jamaica when I was young. And she said there was a lot of different kind of African cultures there like that. But she said there was a lot of mixture there.
Okay.
Like the Creole.
All right, I want to ask you before I move it on. Now, I don't know if you heard the clip when Trump was asked if JD Vance is ready on day one. Did you hear that clip?
I didn't see that. No.
Okay. I'll run it by you. It's not a very long clip. Now, I'm assuming you know who JD Vance is, his pick.
Yeah, I know JD Vance.
Okay.
That's my first pick.
Okay, but I want you to hear Trump's answer to the question because, he wasn't a lot of people's first pick, but I want to get your opinion on why he would say this.
When you look at JD Vance, is he ready on day one?
Does he what?
Ready on day one, if he has to be.
I've always had great respect for him, and for the other candidates too. But I will say this. And I think this is well documented. Historically, the vice president, in terms of the election, does not have any impact. I mean, virtually no impact. You have 2 or 3 days where there's a lot of commotion as to who, like you're having it on the Democrat side, who it's going to be. And then that dies down, and it's all about the presidential pick.
Why can't he answer the question? Turn off, you got a loud background, and out here is music.
Well, Trump, what's going on, so who knows? But I think he chose someone who's young, which has got him credited. He is young, so he's someone who's able to carry the ball when he leaves office if he does get president. Maybe you need somebody at that young age, but me personally, I don't know a lot about him. It was not my first choice. Stacey Abrams would have been my first choice.
All right. Do you agree with Trump that the vice president doesn't matter?
Yeah, because they seriously, ever since they changed the law, making vice president part of the campaign. Because remember back in the day, it was too different. Back in the day, you can run as vice president, but my main job as vice president, no offense, is there just in case, God forbid, something happened.
All right.
So
the vice president does.
If VP was seriously, they would give him extra power so they can do something, not stripping him power like they did Mike Pence when what happened to Mike Pence. So basically, they are there. All due respect, you there. That's the case. Something happened.
All right.
That's what it is.
All right. Appreciate you coming through, Chief.
Like it was, but I wish they had more power. But basically, we all know vice president out there. That's in case that something happened.
All right. Appreciate you coming through. Now, here's what I don't understand in regards to my last call, and I do appreciate you folks that are tuned in this late evening live. Feel free to tap the screen on TikTok. Get the likes up to about 20,000. There's a few hundred of you in here, but I'm surprised. Now, my last guest agreed with Trump on everything. The idea that the VP doesn't matter. Now, Trump is 78 years old. He looks to be cognitively in fairly good health, but the man is 78 years old, saying that the VP pick does not matter. 78. He's already outlived the life expectancy of the average white male, and theirs is longer than, say, black males, for instance. But he's outlived the life expectancy of the average black. To be 78, saying your VP pick doesn't matter 2 weeks after somebody tried to take your life. Wow, I don't know where to go with that. Looking in the comments though, it's funny how this guy was talking like he was black, then later started to sound white. Emmanuel, I see that. I don't know what to say. I'll leave it at that. By the way, I appreciate you folks on YouTube as well. You guys know how the program is ran. We are MAGA friendly. Always have been, always will be. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. So for you new folks that are coming in, understand when you see folks in the comment section or you hear folks communicating with yours truly, doesn't matter if you agree or disagree with anybody on the damn program, including myself. It's all about free speech here. So that's how we run the program. So if you do enjoy civilized dialogue from all sides of the aisle, you are in the right place. I'd invite you to follow the program on TikTok. And for my YouTube viewers, feel free to drop a subscription. Now, Vice President don't matter. Just with Kamala, it matters. That's an interesting point, Super, because when Kamala was the Vice President, under Biden, they were certainly pointing out and saying all kinds of negative things about her, but now Trump is indicating that his vice president don't matter. I will say this before I go back to the box. I do agree with Trump from a MAGA standpoint. I said this earlier before he had this interview on the 1 o'clock live, and that is that I believe for Trump, MAGA kind of sees him as a one-man band. They really don't care what his surrounding cast is. He is the one with the vision. He is the one that's going to deliver the America that is more favorable to us all. That's how I believe MAGA sees it. Anybody he pick will go with them. If he has to get rid of one or two of them, then so be it. But we're following him, which is why he can actually say with confidence, my vice president don't matter. And he's correct because they're only following him. I do actually buy that. He's kind of like, let's say, Law and Order, where not SVU, but the original Law and Order, where you could change the cast members, the detectives come and go, but the program still continues to be a success because people are tuning in to see Law and Order. They don't give a damn who the detectives are. You can switch them out all day long, and at the end of the day, it's still a good program. Trump is like that. Folks are tuning in to see Trump. Any of the characters that surround him, he's shown you that he can switch them in and out like musical chairs, and people still tune in to watch the program. So for Trump, he might actually be right, although the statement sounds ridiculous to suggest that a vice president doesn't matter. For President Trump, in regards to MAGA, he's probably correct. It does not matter who he picks. Going to the box, Dencal, good evening. Welcome to the program, Dencal. So we're talking about everything from black jobs to the vice president don't matter. Good evening, Dencal.
Hey, what's happening, man? It's a whole lot to unpack.
I agree. It's been an interesting few hours.
I just want to get a couple of things in. First thing I want to say is I believe more and more that MAGA is a real cult. And I'm not just saying that to be derogatory towards people or whatever. Like, this dude just parroted the same stuff about Kamala Harris as they did with Obama.
Yeah.
They started from his birth and said he wasn't one of us. He wasn't one of us. They made it seem like there was a whole conspiracy from the time he was born to move him to different countries so one day he could eventually become the first black president. Like, they made so much. He's making up the same stuff, and he's not understanding. What I want him to understand is black is not an ethnicity. Black is not one specific ethnicity.
So we all know from the beginning when they call you black, it's because of your melanin in your skin.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they said if you got one drop of black blood, you're black.
Yeah.
So now this young girl who was born to an Indian family, her mother was Indian. Yes, she's going to learn some of the cultural things about being an Indian.
Right.
But she was born and she was raised in Oakland, California. She came of age, she went to an HBCU. She joined a black sorority. She had an affair with a black council member who was very powerful. She dated Montel Williams. Bruh, you can't make this stuff up.
Yeah, I mean, well, my last caller was African American himself, and did you hear what he was saying?
Listen, first of all, we are all mixed. Nobody's ever went to 23andMe and got back a report that said you just all one race. We are all mixed.
Right. Yeah, I thought that too. I mean, because I did a Ancestry.com report, and they told me, yeah, it was about 23 different things in me. So, yeah, that's what I was trying to tell him, that everybody's mixed.
Right, but he on there talking about, I don't think she's like pure blood. Like, what the hell is a pure, like what?
I don't know.
He used that same storyline and he built this up about her, and he literally knows nothing about the woman.
Yeah.
He listened to all talking points and just babbled on about stuff that was so ignorant.
But let me say, before you get too deep into referring to Trump as ignorant, do you at least give him credit for going into what amounts to the lion's den? I mean, a lot of folks would not have done that. I mean, Trump does, even though folks may criticize what he says, he does reach out to the black communities, went into, black businesses and things like that. I mean, folks don't like what he has to say, but I mean, even Kanye West, who the black community has their issues with Kanye West, but how many other presidents would have actually took a meeting with Kanye West? So does he get any credit for any of that?
No, man. No, you don't get credit for just going somewhere. It's about getting results. Are you encouraging that community that you're going to do something for them, or are you just going there just like he went to North Korea to meet with a dictator? Yeah. Is he brave for doing that? Yeah, you can call him brave, but what result did we get? He said his goal was to denuclearize North Korea. They were shooting bombs like fireworks about 2 weeks after he left there.
Yeah, I mean, I get all of that. I'm not saying that anything positive came out of him meeting with Kim Jong-un. I agree with you 100% there, but I'm saying the fact that he does at least reach out. How many other Republican presidents, Bush or, even Romney or John McCain, who were, Republican contenders for president, Ronald Reagan, how many of them actually had outreach to the black community at all? The fact is, Trump is reaching out somewhat.
If you go somewhere and just insult the people, I don't know if that's outreach.
Well, he didn't insult them all, did he?
I mean, if your values say to you, "Wow, that guy is brave," I'ma just forget all the other shit he did because he brave. Like that's not something that.
Well, look, he met. Look, here's what I mean. When he met with Ice Cube, or when he met with Steve Harvey, or when he met with Lil Wayne, he wasn't insulting them like that.
It was all for votes. He don't care about.
Well, what the hell do you think the Democrats are doing? Of course, it's for votes. He's a politician. That's what he's supposed to do, ain't it?
I'm saying it's not just for votes. He don't care about them people. Period. He don't know 50 Cent, or he don't know like Kanye West. He's just somebody that he's using.
You think when Biden went on the Breakfast Club talking to Charlamagne the God saying, "Vote for me, you ain't black," do you really think he knew who those people were?
I think that he's actually trying to do something for the people.
Okay, all right. I get you believe that the Democrats are. I'm saying that the reach out part. Same thing. Hillary Clinton goes on the Breakfast Club talking about she keeps hot sauce in her purse. She don't know who those people are. I mean, this is what folks do. I don't want to, make it sound like what Trump did is unique. The Democrats often, Nancy Pelosi on television dancing with, Native Africans. She don't do that normally. So go ahead.
But nobody was trying to like her anymore because she did that stuff.
Right. So let me ask you this. Do you think Trump going on a show like that, do you think it helped him out with the black community at all?
No, not at all. Not this, you talking about this one that he did today?
Yeah, the one today.
No.
Yeah.
He could have only lost. A lot of people, because they are kind of cultish, they'll look at it and say, "Oh, look at him. He's the man. He was battling those black chicks. He was fighting back. He was bobbing and weaving."
Yeah, I agree with. I do believe it certainly could have helped him, but I think he seized the moment and said all the wrong things. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, if you asking me if that outreach really materialized into something, and he kind of answered the questions and gave us some policy stuff, yeah, of course it could have, but that's not Trump. That's not Trump.
It's not Trump, but I only wanted to ask because I think he tried to do something that you don't normally see Republican politicians trying to do.
He knew from the rip that it wasn't gonna go well.
And but think about what you're saying. He knew from the rip it wasn't going to go well, yet he still showed up. No credit at all for that?
Bro, he probably, he solidified a bunch of people that was already going to vote for him.
He still went on there, didn't Cal? If it wasn't going to help him, he didn't have to show up. They made him wait 30 minutes, and he stood there and waited. No credit at all, huh?
No, if you slated to be someplace for a certain length of time and they have a technical issue or whatever, it's not like you can leave whenever you want to, but stand because there was an event. He said from the beginning, I thought Hillary was going to be there. I mean, he thought Kamala was going to be there. Look,
he was told that.
It was not about to be a debate. They were going to go on at different times. What difference does it make if she spoke and he did?
Okay, I don't know. I think you might be being a bit extra harsh on the guy, but fair enough. I got to move it on, then, Cal. Go ahead.
And then before people just came in the middle of that hour and just ended the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, he was starting to get around to Project 2025. They were like, but that, like if you've done this rough already, we ain't even gonna let you begin to answer that shit. I appreciate you coming on. I gotta move it on though.
All right.
Thank you, Dencal. All right, moving on with the program. By the way, I wanted to address a couple super chats on YouTube. Mike Schuster, thank you. Thank you for your generosity. Mike says, what are your thoughts on Sleepy Joe trying to change the Supreme Court to benefit Democrats? Okay, all right. Term limits without adding term limits to Congress and Senate. It's expected. What did you say your name was again? Mike Schusters. It's expected. I don't, I understand it may go against what folks believe, the way this country was ran or the traditional operations of the country, but you are talking about a 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court that is going to be that way for, 20, 30 years or more probably. Certainly if Trump gets elected, he's going to replace Alito and Clarence Thomas with much younger justices. They're going to try to bend the rules a little bit. Otherwise, you're going to have a far-right America for a very long time. And obviously, too, the Democrats are going to be kind of down with it because of what Mitch McConnell did to President Obama's Supreme Court pick. Many believe that President Obama was cheated out of a Supreme Court pick. So I would expect it. Now, your question, just to, I like to make sure I give a thorough response to my super chats. When you ask me what are my thoughts on it, I believe either side would do it. If you had a 6-3 majority liberal on a 6-3 liberal majority on the Supreme Court, and the Republicans could find a way to, a backdoor way of changing it, I think they would do the same thing. Back the courts, term limits, everything the Democrats are talking about doing, I believe the Republican Party would do too. I just believe. Certainly after seeing what Mitch McConnell did, there's no one on the Republican Party that seem to have a problem with that. He deliberately prevented Obama from having a Supreme Court pick, stating it was too close to the election and let the people decide on the candidate, and then we'll get a pick. And then when it was close to it was even closer to the election for Trump. Suddenly, the entire mindset of it went away, and the Republican Party had no problem with that at all. So my guess is Biden is only going to do what, or not Biden, but well, it could be Biden. Biden could, yeah, on his way out, some kind of executive action or try to do something. Yeah, I can see it. But as I said, I think both sides would do it. I don't think he's doing anything that, if the situation was reversed, the right wouldn't do it. Ed G, thank you for the super chat, said, yes, I'm sure Biden has Cardi B on playlist. Spot on. Now, I agree with that. That's what I was telling my last caller, is that both sides are meeting with people that they have no real connection with to pander for votes. What Trump did today was, in meeting with Kanye and all the stuff I mentioned earlier, was an effort to pander to black votes. But it's not like the liberals don't do it as well. I mean, Hillary Clinton has been in black churches. She don't attend that stuff normally. She was doing the same thing. I mentioned Nancy Pelosi dancing with, natives in African garb. You think she does that normally? So I do want to be fair. I don't believe that Trump's comments today may have helped him out with the black community at all, but I do want to be fair about it. Continuing on, and somebody I see in the comments, NASCAR Noah says, what about Biden in the black church? Fairly similar response. I agree with you, says Mike Schuster. Never thought about that. But term limits without Senate and Congress term limits, in my opinion, is wrong. I understand your point, but I think everybody, particularly on the right, you hear at Trump rallies, everybody's yelling out term limits. It's a very common request from the right. So how about this? Look at it as a step in the right direction. We're not going to get term limits on the House, Senate, and justices all at once. But if you can get it on at least one of them, isn't that a step in the direction you want to go? Are we suggesting, well, if you can't do all three, don't do any? I mean, if you think all three bodies, you're tired of seeing congressmen serve their entire damn life and get all of the fruits and benefits of being in politics their whole damn life, or a Senate doing the same thing, or a justice, why not cut as many of them as you can? Why have the mindset that if you can't do them all, then I don't want any? You can maybe do the justices now, and then maybe once it'll open up the door to maybe doing the other ones. That's just my take on it, but I understand your point. Going back to the box, I'm for a step in the best direction. That's what I suggest, Tammy. I'm just simply saying it's a step in the best direction. Let's say, for instance, all you could get is the Senate. All you could get is the Senate to have term limits. You couldn't get Congress to do it. You couldn't get the Supreme Court. Would you take that? I mean, at least one group is not living out, with a golden parachute their entire damn life. At least is what is it, 50 some odd, 2 in every state, 100. I mean, that's at least 100 politicians that's not doing it. Why not start with that and then progress on? Z-Pack, good evening. Welcome to the program. We're talking about everything from JD Vance being ready on day one to black jobs. This interview has a lot of material in it. Z-Pack, good evening.
Well, speaking of material, we're talking about the black jobs. And realistically, Tim, this is any job that you would have, okay? We're going to pretty much take away all the jobs from the illegal immigrants are going to take away all the jobs, and they're black. And we have to investigate Kamala. Where's her blackness? We've got to do it. Listen, Tim, today was a disaster. It was a utter disaster for the Trump campaign. Whoever put him up to this hates him. Damn. Whoever had him come out and do this interview today secretly hates him. Seriously, think about it.
Yeah, something. Here's a weird thing, and I don't totally disagree. I don't disagree with you, but here's the thing. It's only been 10 days since Kamala has been on the scene, and because Trump was riding high. We were right off the RNC. It just the poll numbers were looking fabulous for Trump. He survived that attempt on his life looking like a damn hero, with the fist in the air, everything but an eagle landed on his hand. What a difference a little bit over a week has made, huh?
Well, yeah, because the Democrats were going to were threatening the 25th Amendment on Joe Biden.
Yeah.
From what I have read, I have seen a lot of reporting on this. Barack Obama came to him and essentially said something of the likes, "Hey, Nancy and Kamala are ready to do the 25th Amendment," and it was a very interesting sequence. We went from a assassination to sitting president not running for re-election.
Where did you hear the 25th Amendment stuff from? I haven't heard that.
There was reporting from I think his name was Pete somebody, and they had a whole story that was written up about it. Now, you can find the tweet on Twitter. Again, it's speculation, so I want to be careful, but
right.
There was talk of it being threatened, and that's why it happened the way that it happened. But again, who knows? We may never know the true story of that, but the reality is we took the media, I will say this, the media led this campaign, this snowball campaign that wouldn't stop, and eventually Joe Biden stepped down.
I don't know here's another one that may sound controversial when I say this. I don't know if it was the media. I think it was Trump. I think Trump slowly but surely began convincing more and more people that Joe Biden's cognitive abilities made him unfit, and it started catching on. I think Trump is the one that should get credit for that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could see maybe panic was setting in because they thought, well, how are we going to get Joe to deliver the message if he's struggling to deliver the message that we need to deliver? If you see the difference with Kamala, she's able to deliver the message very fiercely and strongly. Right. And that is exactly what, honestly, Joe Biden wasn't really even able to do in 2020, but still won. Yeah. I thought that if you look back at Joe Biden in the 2020 debate, well, you just shut up, man. I mean, that was the big moment.
Yeah.
But realistically, he wasn't as sharp as the Joe we knew in 2020, and he still won because Donald Trump is just that bad. And I will say this to the Republicans listening, you have to deal with this now. This is your man. He is your geriatric. He is your guy who went on a show today and embarrassed himself. I mean, this is close to the level of what Joe Biden was doing.
Oh, hell no. You think what Trump did today is close to June 27th, what Biden did at the debate? You think it was that bad?
I think for the campaign it was.
No.
Maybe not to the same degree, but I'm telling you, to the campaign, this was the worst day since 2020. There's no doubt about it. They've got cleaning up to do in a lot of different areas.
I tell you something. I think January 6th is worse than what happened. I mean, because you said the worst day since 2020. January 6th was worse than today.
Well, yeah, what I'm saying, okay, so let me be very clear. I'm talking about for a campaign, meaning that the election on January 6th was over. Donald Trump lost.
Right, okay.
So this, for the campaign standpoint, was a bad day for Donald Trump. A day that he is going to regret. A day that he doubled down on in a rally tonight in Harrisburg, and he accidentally, and again, I talk about cognitive decline, there's a senator, David McCormick, that's running for Senate in Pennsylvania against Bob Casey.
Okay.
He said tonight at that rally, you've got a great future governor. And he was talking about Dave McCormick running for the governor's race. Josh Shapiro, a potential VP candidate, is the governor of Pennsylvania, not Dave McCormick. Dave McCormick is running for Senate. And he said it twice. The media has been very lax on his lapses, and there's been a lot of them lately. He has the other night he was talking about a crowd. He said, there were like 50,000 people here. It's like Elvis.
but he had a guitar. He had a guitar.
He said it 3 times. The man is not well, Tim. Like, he's literally insane. And the media just gives him a pass because, well, it's Donald Trump. When quite literally, he is no better. And
I don't know. I got to disagree with you. You say that he's no better than Biden. I mean, he may have some issues, but I think Biden was worse.
I mean, Joe Biden was just very bad in that debate, but I thought he did very, very good in the press conference. The only mistake that he made was saying Vice President Trump, right? But the thing is, that was bad, and we were all sitting there and we were like, Joe, come on.
Yeah.
But like,
I mean, the reason why the debate is so bad because this is like the Super Bowl. Anything after that is practice or after party. This is the big game, and he fumbled within like the first quarter when he started talking about something and then switched over to Medicare, which was not even part of the question. I don't think anything Trump did today was as bad as that, simply because the audience for Biden was probably 100 times what the audience was for Trump today.
Well, right, but I mean, Donald Trump flubbed up on questions today. He didn't answer any questions. What questions did he answer today? He was asked direct questions, and instead of answering them, he starts out saying, well, you're so nasty. And it was like literally like the stuff that you said. So yeah, Trump, you're nasty. You're a nasty, weird man. Like, you shouldn't be saying shit like that. They're going to bring that up. And he took it personal, like they were saying that he, how could you be so rude to me? Yeah. Right? How could you be so mean? But Donald, you said this shit. This wasn't what they're saying.
Well,
Trump. Last thing, you're not getting your little softball questions that you're getting on Hannity about the weather. Well, what'd you think of the weather today, Donald? Oh, it was great. That's what he does on Hannity. There's no real substance there.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say is that Trump doesn't like to face resistance and face challenges like that. And he went to an audience where he was literally going into the lion's den. I mean, these people did not like him when he arrived. So they're not going to ask you anything that's kind or nice. They already don't like you. Certainly the lead woman who works for ABC, where Trump done already threatened to pull out from the debate because he said all kinds of awful things about ABC. So you already knew she wasn't there to be his friend.
Well, yeah, and this is his excuse now to get out of the debate.
Oh, yeah. That's over with. Yeah, that's over with.
Yeah, he's going to, because now he gets to say, well, they're mean to me and I don't like them. And, it's just stupid. This is what he does.
All right, Z-Pack, appreciate you coming through. Always.
We love you. You're very special. Listen, Tim.
Real quick, have you talked to Michael Cohen lately? Because he got that meme floating around where he says how many times and he, I forget what it was about, but there's one of those TikToks you can use his voice that's floating around everywhere right now. I used it earlier.
Well, I am his co-host, and so I am a big deal, as you know.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate you having me on the platforms before, getting the opportunity with Michael Cohen. I think that you need to just let Trump go forever. I know you like to have these MAGA people on your program.
I love MAGA.
But they're weird, and you need to just let them go forever. They're not worth the time.
All right, fair enough. Appreciate you coming through. Thanks for getting me on with Michael Cohen that time too as well. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Although that didn't go as well as I had hoped. You were tough on him, and I mean that's good.
I'm gonna be tough. Yeah.
I felt like I was gonna get shit on because of that, right?
That's how I am. I'm going to ask you questions that I think are worthy of asking, and I can see his face.
You have a podcast? Are you like this is your podcast? But yeah. I'm surprised you haven't moved on to a little. We gotta get you like a big studio with like a, we gotta get you some stuff here, Tim.
I'm open to progress, man. I think I have the content. I'm just not savvy enough in all of these other areas. But because I want to talk my YouTube audience, because we're simultaneously on YouTube right now, and my YouTube audience is mostly MAGA. Shout out to my MAGA folks. I would like to be able to talk to them the way I'm talking to you live, but I got to figure out a way to do that as well. But Hey, send me what you got through the inbox. We'll certainly talk about it. I got to move it on, though.
All right, man. I'll see you.
Appreciate it. All right, moving the program on, by the way. What does this say? Tim needs a team. Yeah, I probably do. I probably do need a little bit of assistance. I'm almost feel nowadays. I kind of feel like like a struggling upcoming, let's say, rap artist. I'm carrying around notepads and shit on me because so much content comes into the mind all the damn time. And it's crazy. So you want to write this down. It is really weird. But anyway, we'll keep moving the program on. And I do appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen. Thank you for the support. And the likes on YouTube, feel free to smash that like button. We can certainly get it up to about 120 if you folks show the program some love. You know how it is. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. This is uncensored programming. Always has been, always will. And we are MAGA friendly. We go left of Bernie Sanders to him having dinner with QAnon. You don't have to agree with anybody in the comment section. You damn sure don't have to agree with the host. It's all about free speech. Feel free to follow the program or subscribe on YouTube if this is what you favor. Going back to the box, one of my team members, Kat, good evening. Welcome to the program. What do you honestly think about the election as a whole? Who will win? That's up in the air, but right now the momentum is certainly with Kamala. The momentum is. That's not to say something may change or, if we had it, before I go to you, Kat, hang on one second. Let's say, for instance, you have a mass casualty event that is perpetrated by an illegal, undocumented. That would be beneficial to the Trump campaign. Let's say, for instance, a pregnant woman was denied the right to terminate, a baby that was going to be not even viable, and something happens where she loses her life. That would be something plastered all over the news to the Harris campaign. So it's things like that. I would tell you right off the bat, JD Vance has been giving the left all sorts of material. He has not helped Trump out whatsoever, in my humble opinion. Kat, good evening.
Yate, Katnisatishna, Bilagana versus those are my clans. Yate means hello in Dene Navajo language. So I've been listening to you for quite a while.
Thank you. Appreciate
I'm
that.
kind of iffy about your stance on some things, but I get it.
Okay. Listen, it's not about ever agreeing or disagreeing. It's about free speech. I don't have all the answers. I could be wrong on half of it. You never know. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to talk it out.
Well, and you've got some good points too. So and that's what we all need. We all need to hear both sides.
Thank you.
I still vote Democrat. I do know that some of them make some bad decisions, and I don't agree with it. Irritates me. But, this whole thing with Vice President Harris, she's Indian, Jamaican, Afro. What's wrong with that? Okay? She is a black woman. She represents the melting pot of this nation. We as indigenous native people have had to deal with racism for a long time. When illegal colonizers came here, okay, we've had immigrants all these years now. Most of us to this day, 2024, are mixed.
Yeah.
So what? It's a shame that people are slamming her. She should embrace where she comes from on both sides. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's not right.
I don't disagree with that.
Like I said, she represents so many of us in this nation. And I am proud to see her up there. And as vice president, she just doesn't just sit around and do nothing. She's been busy. She does a lot of things that President Biden couldn't do.
Well, let me ask you that, since you went down that road, because I am often asked, what did she do for this country as vice president? How would you handle that question?
Well, I know that she would go out and she would do other meetings with other dignitaries, things like that.
Yeah.
Because a president cannot do everything by themselves. They have to have other people to delegate to. That's how the system works. And whatever he has told her to go do, whether she did it quiet or not, people used to complain, oh, she's not doing anything, they're hiding her. That's not true. She's just busy doing her work, doing what she needs to do, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Now she did say there was nothing of any significance going on at the border for quite some time. Do you hold her accountable at all for the border under the Biden administration?
There's nothing going on down there. That is an illegal border on stolen land. Most of the people that come from South America are migrants that have been coming up this way for thousands of years. They are my cousins, my brothers and sisters. We have been migrating from Canada to the southern part of South America.
What do you mean by wait, an illegal border on stolen land? Are you suggesting that we should not have a southern border at all?
No, there should not be any border. What gives you? Okay, let me tell you right now. Your ancestors were brought here. All white tea people were brought here. Those are all immigrants, and mind you, they're all illegal. So technically, you as descendants should be illegal too. What gives you the right to tell indigenous native people of Turtle Island to not migrate back and forth?
You do know. Wait. You do know that once a country is conquered, once land is conquered, the old way it used to be used is no longer observed, right?
And that's wrong. Look where it's at now.
That's humanity, though. Listen, I'm not saying it's. Yeah, I'm not saying it's right, Cat, but that's humanity. Once land is conquered, it's no longer used the way it was used before being conquered.
This whole thing is just, people need to understand. The United States is a young country. Turtle Island is thousands of years old. Thousands and thousands. Look at the other countries around the world that have gone through the same thing that we have gone through here. And now look at what's going on with Palestine. The same ideology. People need to decolonize their brains and stop with the greed, the hate, the lies, and racism, which is the violence that comes along with it.
So do you think American citizens would be safe if we had no border at all, like you're suggesting, where anybody could come and go as they please? Do you feel like you'd be safe in this country?
Absolutely. Do you think we're safe now?
I think
we've got literally so-called U.S. citizens pew-pewing our children in their schools. Children are being traumatized when they shouldn't be. Back when I was a little girl, all I had to do was worry about an earthquake or a tornado training in school. Now they have to worry about having a chance to get away from being pew-pewed.
And you believe that's that, I'm not disagreeing with you that there's a lot of mass loss of life in those type of killings. I mean, I grew up on the south side of Chicago. But that the idea that anybody could come here without any type of checks and balances, you feel we would be safe?
Yes, we are. We will be safe.
Anywhere in the world? Is there anywhere else in the world? Is there anywhere else in the world that they do that, where anybody can come and go as they please?
I'm not worried about everybody else there. I'm worried about Turtle Island right now. I'm worried about the lies, the hate, the racism, the violence that keeps getting taught in families' homes, and allowing people like that orange Trump up there to keep spewing this mess. It's causing way too much violence, and we're done. We're done with the destruction.
So how would you respond? Because I see in the comments people were bringing up September 11th. You feel confident that something like that would not happen again if we just open up the borders, you can come and go as you please?
It can happen. I'm not saying that. You have got to understand that right now, the domestic terrorism is what we should worry about too.
Well, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
Okay. So I'm just saying right now, when people are talking about the border, we've got Canada as well. What about that border? What about the East Coast, the West Coast?
I don't know. That seems dangerous to me, Kat. I can't get behind no borders at all. I mean, the culture. You think that culture changed when they took it over from your ancestors? I mean, anybody would come. You would have languages everywhere. I mean, I don't see how that could work.
Let me ask you then.
Sure.
If you think about it, and you think about your ancestors and the YT ancestors, were they thinking the same thing?
What do you mean?
No, they weren't.
What do you mean? Were they thinking the same thing?
what you're saying right now doesn't make sense because when the colonizers came here and your ancestors came here from Africa, the stuff they have done to the African nations, the atrocities, who was that done by?
It was done by white colonizers.
Okay, and so now you still want to keep doing that to migrants that have been here for thousands of years.
I
What
think
gives
it's
you
a,
guys
it's
the
a,
right to do that?
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but it's a different world than it was back then. I mean, people can get here quicker. It's easier to get here. It's not 18, it's not 1700. I mean, people can get here overnight now. You're okay with just letting anybody in.
So it's okay to use automatic pew-pews that can shoot, 10, 15 rounds
Yeah.
at children.
That's a good question to ask, but that's a different.
And that's coming from domestic people, U.S. citizens, and most of them are white people,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
No, I'm fine with tackling domestic terrorism, but that doesn't mean you ignore international terrorism.
I know that, and some of these people that do come through the southern border, I know, are bad apples. Yes, we need to stop them, but those that aren't, that are actually seeking asylum, they belong here. They've been doing it for thousands of years.
Should there be a limit?
No.
Unlimited amount can come here and claim asylum.
Yeah.
We have the resources to take them all in.
Countries here. How many are coming from Europe? How many are coming from Asia? How many are coming from Africa still?
Yeah.
You want to start stopping all of them too? Let's go for it. Let's stop all of them. I don't want anybody else here.
Wow.
Nobody.
All right, Kat. We don't agree on much here, but appreciate you tuning in. I do got to move it on. You're always welcome back. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Appreciate it. Good talk. Moving on with the program. Wow. Now that's by a lot of estimations that would be considered very far left. She's basically said the country should not have borders at all. I get her opinion about what the white colonizers did, when they came to this country. I'm not gonna. That's not lost on that. That was not lost on deaf ears. I do hear her in regards to that, but opening up the borders based on that in 2024, in my opinion, is I think that's dangerous. But I told her that, and she has a difference of opinion. Real quick, Ed G said she was not able to name anything that Kamala did. Well, her response was Kamala met with foreign dignitaries. I mean, if you want to call that doing something, we can go with that. But no, she didn't name much beyond that. Gen X wanted me to ask her if the world was flat. I'm sure she would have said the world is round, Gen X. And Gen X referred to her as a nut job. These are my super chats on YouTube. Thank you for the support there. Brandon Freeman, now make her connect slavery and gun control to open borders. Oh, she did it on her own, Brandon. Now listen. Now I do get her point that we're ignoring a lot of domestic terrorism. What do we say when there's an act of domestic terrorism? Thoughts and prayers. We do nothing about domestic terrorism. Nothing. So I do. Her point is not lost on that, but I don't think the solution is to just allow anybody to come here internationally under the guise, well, we're not doing anything domestically, so just open the borders up for international folks to come here as well. I don't. Me and her vehemently disagree on that. Let me go back to the box. That was just an interesting call. I haven't heard too many people say that. Even though we disagree totally, she was an interesting conversation because I haven't had too many people that are that far left that believes anybody should be able to come here and simultaneously stating, and I would feel safe. That's different. Looking in the comments, one his own flock tried to take out DJT, so it's a very big deal. I don't quite get where you're going with that, John. She don't live in Texas, says Eric. She might. There's a lot of immigrant-friendly people living in Texas. They're not all get these people out of this country type folks. There are immigrant-friendly people in Texas. By the way, I think thanks to the work of Governor Greg Abbott and to a lesser degree Ron DeSantis, the worst illegal immigration problems are no longer in Texas. They bust enough of them out. I think the problems in cities like Chicago are probably worse nowadays. So it could be anywhere. I'm not wrong. In Cat States, I'm not wrong. You guys are the crazy Republicans. Shout out to you, Cat, pointing out the crazy Republicans. She says she's not wrong. You crazy ass Republicans. Let me move the program on. Thank you, Cat, by the way. Continuing on with I don't know what I'm looking at, but Ma Ann. Remember the old Martin Lawrence in the 1990s? Ma Ann, good evening, Martin. Crazy rednecks in Texas says Black Power. Martin, good evening. Martin, are you there? Okay, maybe Martin is asleep or something of that nature, so I'll move the program on. Someone asked in the comments, what the hell did Trump do before he was elected? Well, he was a very successful citizen. I mean, his job wasn't to do things for the country, but in defense of President Trump, fact is he was a businessman, so you got to assume he created a lot of jobs for people. There were people suing him, suggesting he wasn't paying them properly, but yeah, there's a lot of folks that owe their jobs and careers to Trump. I mean, he got businesses everywhere. Even to this day, there's a lot of people that work for Trump. So you say, what did he do before he got elected? He employed probably thousands of Americans. Take that as you may. Going back to the box, was he really successful? Says, yeah, he was successful. I don't know how much money he was worth or any of that. I'm sure that he wasn't truthful on all of it. Trump likes to exaggerate. Like when he came down the escalator, said he was worth $15 billion. I think it's safe to say now that that was exaggerated. But the man does have his own jet. He's got his name all over high rises. He's successful. Yeah, I don't think anyone could do that without being considered successful. I mean, even though he may have had a casino go bankrupt, he actually had a casino. Even though he had a football league ultimately fail. We're talking about I think it was the USFL. He had a football league. How many other people can say they had all of that stuff? He was successful. There's no denying the man is very successful business-wise. Continuing on with the program, we will go to Michael Thomas. Good evening, Michael. Welcome to the program. Michael.
What's going on?
Not much at all. Did you catch any of Trump's interview or speech at the National Association of Black Journalists today?
Yeah, I caught all of it, man.
Now he was at a black event. You know, he went into a black event. He went into the Lions Den. Do you give him credit for showing up where most Republicans would not go?
No, I don't. Now I'm gonna tell you why. First of all, I wouldn't consider it a Lions Den because to consider it a Lions Den is really the connotation that he was going into a dangerous environment.
Wait, hold on. Michael, they booed him when he walked on stage.
Right.
That's the Lions Den. They made it clear we don't like you before he ever said a word.
You know the crazy part about that to me is, either you know you're going in there strategically and you're trying to win them over, or you're going in there strategically and you know you're not going to win them over.
The fact is, he went in there. You don't give him any credit for that.
Yeah, he did. Nah, and I'm going to tell you why I don't give him credit.
You've been harsh. Go ahead.
Yeah. I can't give you credit for going to somewhere with the intent to do what he did. Right? I mean, it was so disrespectful to the idea that I'm going in there. What did he go in there for?
He went in there for outreach. I mean, he spoke his mind. A lot of folks may view it. Hold on. A lot of folks may view what he said as insulting, but he stated how he feels.
Is that outreach?
Yeah. That's what your job is. Your job. What do we say in the hood? Keep it real. Did he not? We don't like it. We don't like it, but he kept it real.
Fair enough.
And let me say this. I'll let you hold on. Let me say this. I'll let you continue. But when I say keep it real, how many times are politicians accused of only going or saying something to pander to a community? He could have said what he thought people wanted to hear to pander. Fact is, he didn't do that. He said things that is predictable people would not like. He kept it real.
Correct. So, okay, and I won't argue that point. What was the objective? To win over the votes? To win over the black votes?
I can't answer that. I can't answer that.
He had no objective to going into that Lions Den. I would concede that to going into that Lions Den and coming out with what? It's sad, honestly. To be honest with you, it's sad because it's just showing more and more division on every level. You know, I was listening to you earlier, and I was trying to join in, but it's just this constant idea that this is what is good for America, and or trying to make it appear that way. It's just terrible. What's worse is the pundits and the supporters around him, Senator Tim Cotton, trying to make sense that this is somehow good for the Republican Party. It's just not if you're trying to win an election.
Right. Yeah, and that's the whole purpose of this live stream. My title, Trump is pursuing the black vote, and that's what I was asking. Even though he went into the Lions Den, does anybody believe he improved his standing with the black community after this interview today?
I just jumped in. So I didn't. Did anybody join or comment that helped today?
No.
Does anybody believe that helped him today? Exactly.
Not even MAGA. I haven't even heard MAGA say that.
Exactly. So what are we actually trying to do? Which really goes to another point that I was reading about, what Trump has made comments about. He doesn't need votes. He doesn't need votes anymore. Did you see that? Where he was saying he doesn't really need the votes anymore.
No, I didn't.
Exactly.
That's not going to be good. I didn't see that part.
Yeah. If you go back, I think it happened. I think 2 days ago, where he was at a rally. He was saying, "I don't really need the votes anymore. We have enough votes. People that are on this need to go look at that." He said, "We don't need votes anymore." What does that mean?
In other words, I got enough people to win. I don't need to expand the base.
And there's no way you can win with your base. So what does that mean? Does that mean that he's always talking about things that rigged? It's typically the person that's doing the very thing they're complaining about, right? Yeah. The person that thinks their spouse is cheating typically is the one that's cheating. So you just wonder what that ultimately means. But one of your callers earlier said about one of the comments, and I wanted to get back to that, Tim, is where it said racism happened 300 years ago, and we need to get over it.
Well, first of all, we know that Martin Luther King era was not 300 years ago, so that's wrong.
Absolutely. But even if that's the context, do we ever ask anyone else that's been a victim of sexual assault or lost a child to violence to get over that?
No.
Do we ever ask, is there ever a question about anything else in society where they tell a group of people to get over their atrocities? Do we ever say that to our Jewish community?
No. I don't understand. I've said the same thing because you got folks saying that the Confederate flag is about pride and heritage, and I always bring up, if you want African Americans to get over that time period, but you're okay with waving the flag, these things happen at the same time. So you're kind of reminding them of what happened. I mean, because if you're going to celebrate your ancestors, you're kind of reminding them of those that existed that are on their side at the same time period. So
yeah. We just have to get to a point where it's okay. That's the thing that I wish both sides, we just got to get to a point where it's okay for us to disagree. Racism is rooted in our country. It's a fact. Why do we try to hide it? Because here's my deal. If you can accept where you've been, we do it in every other walk of life, right? I started from nothing and I came to something, right? I started here and I came to there. If I'm in school, I started with D's and I ultimately got A's. Everybody wants to tell their story of progression.
Right.
Everybody wants to tell the story of we started here and we got there. And it's okay because this is the history of everything that we do.
Well, it ain't that they're necessarily trying to deny racism existed. You okay? What is that? You all right over there?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. Yeah.
It ain't that they're trying to deny racism existed. A lot of folks believe that the African American community uses racism as a crutch to sometimes portray victimhood to get things that they may normally not be worth or not have earned. They just use it as a crutch. That's what a lot of folks believe.
I understood. And that just tells you, like I told you on our last call, education in our history as a people is real. And the more people are looking to be educated collectively. I'm not just talking about white folks, I'm talking about everybody. I think we can just understand. You don't have to agree, just understand. If we can just understand, I think, just understand.
I want to get this to you. Now, this is an open forum. We let you speak however you may. I want to, because this is a funny comment. I'll let you, you can take it wherever you want to. And by the way, folks, tap the screen, get the likes up to about 70,000. We got a smaller audience here, but I'm asking you folks to tap the screen, get the likes up to about 70,000. On YouTube, when you had that loud background, this guy's name is Spitfire Shine, said you had to drop your chicken. So, sitting around eating chicken.
That stuff doesn't even bother. That kind of stuff doesn't bother me because, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. And it means nothing to me. That stuff is that's where the ignorance comes from. Because at the end of the day, we all want. Everybody really wants the same thing. Yeah. That's the sad part. Everybody really wants the same thing. We just got to quit trying to destroy each other to get it.
Yeah. Well, you know, everybody wants as the larger piece of the pie as they can get, and we're in a capitalist society, so we're not talking any of that socialism stuff. We want everybody is like me, greed. So it's hard to work together when everybody is trying to hoard as much of the resources and wealth for themselves. That's coming from all sides. So it's going to be difficult to get along when people are doing that.
Absolutely. And you know what the funny thing is? I've watched all of this for how long has the Olympics been going on?
What, a week or two?
About maybe a week or so?
Yeah.
All of this is going on over here, all of this campaign, all this nonsense, and the best athletes from this country or on the other side of the world representing this country, the diversity across the board, and we're over here dealing with this bullshit.
Yeah.
As our athletes are over there representing us, the TV is scrolling across the country with this nonsense.
Yeah. Well, this country was indeed founded on, racism. I mean, so it's, they say old habits die hard. The country was founded that way. So I don't know if we'll ever completely get rid of it.
No, and I don't either. But I do believe that the majority of the country is center right, center left, and if the majority speaks up, I think that some things will at least go back under the rock.
Yeah, we'll see. I got to move it on, Michael. Appreciate you coming through. Doors always open to you.
All right, my brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Moving the program on, by the way, and I do appreciate some of you folks that are tapping the screen. We might be to squeeze out about 50,000 with this smaller audience, the FYP or whatever the hell's going on, but it is a later hour. Looking in the comments, my ancestors fight to end slavery. Do you see my name? Geechee was fought for 200 years, and I'm not crying, but I got black people, blacks people room up north, family never been enslaved, talking about slavery. Some of that I guess you're suggesting that there are black people who are not descendants of slaves and are still talking about slavery. I think that's what you're saying. I didn't quite understand that. Technology will run the world, and we the people will be free and no working. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. By the way, appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen. Real quick, I want to say the audio of the program is indeed coming from TikTok. So for my YouTubers, when you hear the callers, they are coming from TikTok. The program is, always will be, as we say every night, MAGA friendly. MAGA are my preferred guests. Always uncensored. You don't have to agree with anybody in the comment section. You do not have to agree with the host. We go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon. It's a free speech program. That's how it's ran. So if you want an echo chamber where everybody is bashing Trump or everybody is MAGA, there are other places to go. This ain't it. Everybody gets to speak here. So you're going to hear opinions you love and opinions you hate. That's how we work with freedom of speech. The first legal slave owner was a black man. Says God, then everything else. I don't know. I mean, here's what I'll say, because I hear this all the time, whether it's the Irish slaves or whether it's the fact, not the fact, but the notion that, there were blacks owning slaves in this country and things like that. I'm not saying any of it is true. I'm not saying any of it is not true. I am going to say this. Up to at least probably 1970, if not the 1980s, there were virtually no history books in this country written, authored, or produced by black people. All of the history that was being taught in schools was coming out of books written by whites. So I just want to point that out. If history was not told properly, you have to ask why. Why don't we know about black slave owners, and why don't we know more about the Irish slaves and things like that? I just want to point it out that fact is they made it's one thing is clear, I think we can all agree on, is that they deliberately played games with how history was taught. Omitted things, didn't teach you what they didn't want you to know in regards to, let's say, black slave owners. Why weren't we taught that in schools? I have a opinion on it. I may be completely wrong, and in my audience, if you tell me so, you know I don't censor. I don't have all the damn answers. These are all opinions, just like yours. That's how we work here. That's why we have free speech. My opinion is simple. White America, for the most part, did not want to lead on that black people were capable of managerial positions, were capable of leadership, were capable of running businesses. Blacks were portrayed as, essentially labor. They weren't smart enough to do all this stuff. So if you start putting in the history books that some black guy was able to manage, 10, 15, 20, or 100 slaves and run a farm effectively, it goes against the notion that black people were incapable of being leaders. So you could be right that there were black slave owners, but they kept it out of the history books because they didn't want to portray blacks in a positive light, that they were able to run businesses and manage people. So they may have, because we know that most managerial positions were off limits to black people, whether it was in combat, whether it was in business. The belief was that blacks are incapable of leading. So if you had a black slave owner, you couldn't really tell people about that because it goes against the perceived narrative that blacks can't do that stuff. So that could be why you don't hear things like that. And that is speculation, or for life. That is speculation. I made that clear before I stated it, that I might be wrong, but that's my opinion on it. I mean, regardless of what the actual reason is, it goes to question, why wasn't that taught? If there's so many blacks that own slaves, if there were so many Irish that were in slavery, why is it not in the history books? Give me the name of 5 black slave owners. Give me the name of 3 Irish slaves. When were they free? Where did they work? Why isn't that in the history books? If that existed, why is it not there? Is that not a legitimate question to ask? Moving on with the program, by the way. How can you know politics and never speak about the deep state cabal? I'll wait. I don't know that much politics if you're talking about the deep state. I don't know what that is. I hear it in Q and Maga circles. I don't hear the left talking about the deep state at all. In fact, I'll tell you one thing. I watch a lot of Fox. I don't hear them talking about the deep state on the 5 or what is the one that comes on with Harris Faulkner at noon? I can't think of it right. Outnumbered. They don't talk about them programs or the deep state and all of that. They talk about George Soros, but a lot of that stuff, they don't cover it. So, look, there's a lot of folks that don't know about the deep state. When you start talking about the deep state, my answer generally is, give me some names. Who's in the deep state? Give me some names other than George Soros all the time. So I just want to point that out. Now, see in the comments, Billy Day says it doesn't exist because there was barely any communication. Probably no, obviously no social media. Yeah, I never heard about it. Let me go back to the box. Friend of the program, Gen X. Good evening, Gen X. Always a pleasure having you on. Gen X, good evening.
My man.
Hey, Did you see any of this interview from earlier?
Which interview with Trump?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. That was. Yep, I saw it.
That don't sound positive at all.
Up in an interview, they invited him in there under false pretenses, and then they attacked him, and Trump called him on it. They tried to make him the bad guy. Yeah, you know, it's. I thought that was a pretty pathetic attempt by the left with Trump to treat the man like that. And I was glad, and he kind of lost a little bit. You know, the media's doing everything in their power to make Kamala likable. White dudes for Kamala. White dudes for.
Wait a minute, you ain't seen blacks with Trump. You ain't wait, hold on. You ain't seen blacks with Trump even at his rallies?
Nah, no, I haven't.
Are you serious? You have never seen black people holding up signs, blacks for Trump. You have never seen that.
I've seen blacks for Trump, like black people that like Donald Trump. I've never seen him advertise that.
Okay. It's all over many right wing social media pages and things like that. But I want you to respond to this. This came from this interview today that clearly you don't favor, and a lot of folks do not favor. But this is a question asked to President Trump by Fox News commentator Harris Faulkner.
When you look at JD Vance, is he ready on day one?
Does he what?
Ready on day one, if he has to be.
I've always had great respect for him, and for the other candidates too. But I will say this, and I think this is well documented. Historically, the vice president, in terms of the election, does not have any impact. I mean, virtually no impact. You have 2 or 3 days where there's a lot of commotion as to who, like you're having it on the Democrat side, who it's going to be. And then that dies down, and it's all about the presidential pick. Virtually never has it mattered. Maybe Lyndon Johnson mattered for different reasons than what we're talking about. Not for vote reasons, but for political reasons, other political reasons. But historically, the choice of a vice president makes no difference. You're voting for the president, and you can have a vice president who's outstanding in every way, and I think JD is. I think that all of them would have been.
Why is he not answering the question, Gen X?
He is.
So she asked him, she asked him, would JD Vance be ready on day one? What answer did you hear?
Well, he said yes, basically.
Basically? Explain how he said yes, basically.
Look, he's saying that the focus has never been on a vice president, and he's right. It hasn't. Now all of a sudden they're making it a huge deal.
You're telling me the vice presidential pick is irrelevant?
Let me say this. In 2020, Kamala wasn't even electable.
Right.
She had under 28%, and she's done nothing to change that in the 4 years. Nothing. I mean, they're trying to...
Wait. What could she do as vice president? Gen X, what could she do as vice president to change her numbers you're talking about? What could she have done?
That's the point. She didn't do anything.
What could she do?
Let's see. She could have not ignored the border. She could have not tried to hide the fact that Biden wasn't ready for a second term. She could have not lied about his inability to run the country and claim that Biden was 100% capable, knowing damn well that he was not.
All right. I don't think that's a bad answer. I don't think those are bad answers you're giving. All right, I'll give you that. But in regards to his question, so you agree with Trump? The vice presidential pick don't even matter.
No, I think it does matter, and I think it's a lot more complicated than that. I think it does matter, but I think that the way that the left is framing it now is it's an attempt to take the focus off of Kamala Harris.
You don't think? Wait. You said the way the left is.
Let me finish. Let
Go
me
ahead.
finish.
Go ahead.
Let me finish real quick. I'm sorry. The media's breaking their necks to make Kamala electable, and doing so without any substance or policy or even a direction for the country. I mean, they asked her, what will you do for inflation or to make things better? You know what her answer was? I know you saw this. Well, bread is more expensive and so are groceries. But it's not all because of the cost of living has gone up, blah, blah, blah. Bro, it's a shit show with it. And Tim, I agree with you about a lot, but I think right now the left is really taking a lot of their eggs in the basket that they're putting it into with Kamala. They could have done a lot better. She is not.
I don't think in the time that remains the left could have done better in terms of, because I think that if the left, the only option the left could have done is maybe had some type of virtual primary and let all of the candidates fight and pick the best one. But by the time that was done, we'd be much closer to the election and you'd have a hell of a lot of bruised and battered Democrats. What they did is propelled Kamala to the top of the ticket. She don't have a lot of bruises. The biggest bruise she has is, well, she hasn't done much. I mean, we can talk about the border. That's a bruise she has. And in my opinion, outright lying about Biden's cognitive abilities is a bruise. But other than that, there's not a lot you can. Trump, there's all kinds of things you could say. If she had a win with, if the Democrats had, if the Democrats had a win with Gavin Newsom or Gretchen Whitmer, there's all kinds of things you could bring up on them. There's not a lot to bring up on Kamala. That's why you're bringing up that she slept her way to the top and she's not black and all of this. She laughs too much because there's not a lot of material.
Okay, and I'll give you that. I'll give you that, Tim. Let's say this. Let's get rid of all the kitty bullshit. Let's get rid of she's not black and she's Indian and she's this and that and she laughs too much. Let's get rid of all the childish bullshit.
Tell that to your president.
Now let's take Trump's record and let's take Kamala's record. Trump didn't do everything perfect. We all know it. Kamala did virtually zero good from 2020 till today to put her in a position to say that she is the nominee that we want to elect as the United States president when we consider Trump's record. Again, he's not perfect, but he did some good shit.
Yeah, but Gen X, Gen X. While I agree he done some. While I agree there's good things in Trump's record, there's also some really bad things. And by the way, like I keep saying on the program all the time, if we compare Biden and say we want to go back to Trump because Biden and Kamala are destroying the country, folks need to realize that what Trump is promising in 2024 to 2028 is not what he offered in 2016 to 2020. This is a different Trump. When Trump took office in 2016, you didn't have a 6-3 majority. You didn't have the Supreme Court already granting him immunity. There was not abortion bans all over the place. This is a different dude. That's why people are looking at him differently and saying, well, we're willing to go with Kamala. If this was Trump 2016 against Kamala, he might actually win. But the Trump we got, he's coming with JD Vance, for instance. That guy's talking about some really wild shit, dude. I mean, so people are like, we'll take our chances with Kamala, as you're pointing out, who hasn't accomplished much, because this guy is talking about really taking us far to the right. So that's your choices.
I don't think JD Vance personally. I mean, it is what it is. I support him, but I don't think he was Trump's best choice.
Damn right.
Not in the political arena. I think a better choice for Trump would have been Tulsi Gabbard, or that one man, the brother out of North Carolina that likes to talk a lot of shit. The big
Tim
guy.
Scott.
I like him. Hey, he's a black JD Vance.
I think Tulsi, I'm okay with Tulsi. I mean, she doesn't, obviously she doesn't like the liberals, but I think she would have been, because she used to be a Democrat. So I'm assuming something in her is still liberal. I think she might have been more moderate. Tim Scott ain't. Oh my God, I don't know what else to say about Tim.
No, not Tim Scott. The other one, the other guy.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about, but I don't think he would do it. I know the other guy you're talking about, but I don't think either one of those guys are going to do it. I think
Tulsi would have brought a. I think she would have brought a position of balance to his administration. I don't agree with a lot of shit Tulsi talks about, but I think that when we consider the political landscape as far as Kamala, right now they're trying to elect Kamala on the color of her skin, the fact that she's a woman. I'm not even going to say DEI bullshit because that's just a talking point. But I think that all considered, Tulsi would be a better choice than JD Vance.
Yeah. But let's talk about the DEI thing, the color of her skin and the fact that she's a woman. Here's what I don't understand, because folks, and I do believe that there's a hell of a lot of people that are going to vote for Kamala simply because she's black. Do I think it's racist? Yeah. But at the same time, are we to pretend that this is only happening for Kamala? How many folks on the right are openly stating this country is not ready for a woman to be leadership? That means you're only voting for Trump because he's a man. How many folks are going to vote for Trump because they don't favor, let's say, an African American or an Indian or Jamaican to lead the country? There are plenty of folks that are voting for Trump because he's a white male. I don't know why we're pretending like it's only happening with Kamala.
But there's the thing, Tim. I don't consider it racist. I don't think what they're trying to pull with Kamala is a racist thing. I think they're pandering to the popularity of what's cool at the time. The media does such a good job of painting this picture to get her voted into office based on, yes, her skin color. I don't consider that racist.
I do. If you're voting for somebody solely because of the color of their skin, how is that not racist?
I don't think that's racist.
Okay.
I don't think that's racist.
We disagree, but okay. We disagree, but keep going. All right.
But I'm not a lot into this whole racist thing, bro. Back in the 80s and 90s, I thought we had racism figured out. Maybe not 100%, but back in the day.
Have you not heard about Biden's crime bill or folks suggesting that Kamala was locking up black people? Clearly, we didn't have racism figured out.
I don't agree with the right any more than I agree with the left. I think it's a whole bunch of bullshit.
Okay.
I really do.
All right.
I think we were on a good path back in the 80s or 90s, and if we would have stayed on that path, we wouldn't be where we are today.
I gotta disagree with you, Gen X. I gotta disagree. I gotta disagree with you, Gen X, because the 80s and 90s were literally the height of the war on drugs, and the way that we dealt with the war on drugs was racist as hell. That whole war treated black people significantly worse. If you were a black addict or a black drug dealer, the weight of the criminal justice system came down on you significantly harder than it did white people. Just look at how we treated folks who were addicted to crack versus cocaine, or even nowadays versus how people are addicted to opioids. The people on crack had all kinds of mandatory minimums and 3-strike laws and shit like that. They don't do that to folks that are hooked to meth or hooked to opioids or hooked to cocaine, because all of them are white. I mean, yeah, it wasn't figured out in the 80s and 90s. It was if you weren't in that element, but if you got caught up in the justice system, it was racist as hell.
I'm going to call bullshit on that, Tim, and here's why.
Sure.
Because as a young man, in my my late teens, and my early 20s, I was caught up in the system. I was a fucking crackhead and thief. I was a scumbag who fucking deserved every day that I got in jail. But I grew up. I learned to fucking value my freedom. I learned to value my society, and I learned to value, more than myself, you. I learned to value other people. You know what I mean? So I take that as a cop-out.
Well, I'll tell you this. You were fortunate enough to get the opportunity to learn to value people and correct your life. Some people were given basically a life sentence where they never got the opportunity to correct themselves. That's the point I'm trying to make.
And I agree with that. I agree. I think you're absolutely right about that. But
I don't think that's the rule of thumb. I just don't.
Okay. Well, I would tell you this. I think nowadays, many jurisdictions around the country are actually admitting, for instance, that if you got caught with a certain amount of crack rock on you, the penalty was significantly worse than getting caught with cocaine. And we know that crack, the only illegal substance in crack is cocaine. And you can get caught with pure shit on you and get less than the dude that only has 10% of it. I don't see how you don't see the racism in that.
I don't. I just.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I get it. I understand it, but I don't agree with it.
Okay. I don't agree with it, but it existed.
Well, yeah, of course. I'm not going to deny that.
All right.
Absolutely.
Let me run this by you, because Marin in the comments says, Tim, Donald Trump is the real DEI candidate. Deflect, evade, and insult. I'll give that one to you.
Say that again?
Donald Trump is the real DEI candidate, but he stated that DEI means deflect, evade, and insult. Does he not do those things? Does Trump not regularly deflect, evade questions like the one we presented here? And we all know he insults people.
Well, I'm gonna pull a handsome liberal here with a whataboutism.
Oh shit!
And say, doesn't Kamala do that? Don't the Democrats do that too? I think we all do that. I mean, that's just something we do. We put it off onto someone else and try to justify our behavior because somebody else did wrong too.
I'll give you credit for deflecting and evading. That happens on all sides, but I don't think anybody comes close to insulting like Trump. I don't think anybody's in the same realm as that.
Well, no, Trump is the master insulter.
Yeah.
You know what Trump did today? You know, when that woman, I don't know if you saw this or not, when that woman was sitting there talking all that shit to him, when she turned her back, he reached over and grabbed her water bottle and tightened the cap so you couldn't get it off.
No, I didn't see that. Oh my God. Now you're going to have me, because I got the whole interview here. I'm about to look at that. I got to move it on. That's terrible. That's terrible. I got to move it on. Gen X, appreciate it.
Tim, I love you, brother. Hey, you have a great week, great rest of your week, and hopefully sometime soon we'll break bread, brother, because I want to break bread with you sometime and hang out and have a real conversation. Me, you, and DJ Julio, and to all you women out there talking shit in the chat, make me a sandwich.
I gotta go. Oh my God. All right, moving the program. That is indeed the one and only Gen X. Fuck around and find out. He is MAGA. He is a friend of the program. Looking in the comments, though, he doesn't love you, Tim. Oh my God, they said that about my ex-wife right after the wedding. Looking in the comments, Tim, you are his black friend. Why the hell is that a restriction? I don't know why the thing came. I don't know why, but I'm losing my train of thought. I'm having a Biden moment. A restriction just popped up. I don't know what we've said on the program that is worthy of that. It threw me off. That's why I started having that Biden moment. Tap the screen, folks, by the way. Get the likes up to about, 70,000. Can that happen? We got a small audience here. Few hundred of you here. So it's kind of an intimate evening with the handsome liberal. We'll do it like that. It's a smaller audience, but I'd ask that you tap the screen on YouTube, however. The audience is fairly normal. Feel free to smash that like button on YouTube. Maybe about 210. If you guys smash that like button on YouTube, we can make that happen. The 3 dots at the top of your screen on YouTube gives you access to the like button. Helps out the algorithm. Brings in more MAGA. You know the program always will be MAGA friendly. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. You don't have to agree with anybody in the comment section. You damn sure don't have to agree with the host. It's all about free speech here. We go left to Bernie Sanders. So I'm having dinner with QAnon. We let everybody speak. You enjoy that type of dialogue, open forum, free speech. Feel free to follow the program on TikTok, a subscription on YouTube if you will. By the way, before I go to the next caller, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central is when you generally will find us here. I'm having a late night live because of this whole National Association of Black Journalists interview that Trump had. I don't think it was good for Trump, but I will certainly appreciate your opinions coming in. But yeah, 1 p.m. Central, 1300 hours, Monday through Friday is where you'll find us. Going back to the box, and my TikTok audience is generally about 4 or 5 times as many people that we have here tonight. But nevertheless, we'll continue on with, I don't know what I'm looking at here, but Nate Debates. Good evening, Nate. Welcome to the program. The bread will be poisoned. I don't know what that means there. I can't pronounce the name, but I don't know what that means. Nate, good evening.
Good evening. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Did you catch the interview we're talking about, the National Association of Black Journalists interview?
Oh, I sure did.
What say you? What did you think?
I think that was an absolute disaster.
Disaster for the interviewers or for Trump?
Oh, for Trump. I mean, for the interviewers, I mean, like, they just got publicity like you've never gotten before. You know, like, great for their careers, I'm sure. For him, man, I mean, honestly, one of the toughest POVs was when he first came out. The silence, when they announced him, the silence in that room was deafening.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know who told him it was a good idea to go do this, but he needs to reshuffle his team.
All right, but you know something? Now, you mentioned him coming out. The silence was deafening. There were some folks that booed him, but I've been asking this question all night because I tend to say yes, but I want to hear your opinion. Do you think he deserved credit for going into an audience like that most Republicans would have avoided? I mean, he went to an audience where he knew they were not going to necessarily be friendly. Does he not deserve some credit for that?
Here's the thing. I would say yes if he didn't react to getting tough questions in the way he did. Like, you have to expect you're going to go into that environment.
Right.
You're going to get some tough questions. And instead, he took them as if they were a personal attack, which they absolutely were not, and responded with personal attacks.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. Trump is known for taking things personal. I don't have a response to that other than, I mean, because like you said, you would have had to know going into that type of forum, the questions are going to be tough, and he started calling the interviews nasty and things like that. I don't know what to say on that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So what about the notion that the vice presidential pick doesn't matter?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it matters a ton. I will say I've been a long-term JD hater ever since I read his book when I was a freshman in college. I studied economics in Appalachia, so, you know, it was literally a book about economics in Appalachia. And I gotta say, man, I encourage all the poor whites, because let's face it, that's the Maga base. The poor whites, go to your local library. First step, get a library card, because let's be honest, they probably don't have one. Get a library card, check that book out and give it a read, and see what that man thinks about you. It's honestly, like, despicable.
What is the name of that book again?
Hillbilly Elegy.
You know, that's the Netflix movie too, right?
Yeah, they made so the movie is more so about just his life, I guess. But the book, he is I guess his views on Appalachia and why it's poor. And it's essentially, it comes down to, he's like, oh, all these hillbillies are so dumb, and it's because of their culture. So yeah, he basically is telling the poor whites, you're poor because you're dumb and your culture sucks.
Wow. Yikes. I hear that on the right a lot, is that you pull yourself up by your bootstraps, you're only suffering because of what you did. That is common.
Yeah, and one other just wild thing, right, in the book, so he, as a candidate, right, he's blamed his mother's addiction with substance to, he's blamed that on illegal immigrants, which makes no sense, because give that book a read. His mom was a nurse that was stealing drugs from the hospital she worked at. So yeah, it doesn't really add up. I mean, you and I both know that most drugs coming from across the border are coming from U.S. citizens anyway. But literally, these were drugs that she herself was stealing from hospitals.
Yeah, most drugs come in this country are smuggled in by Americans. A lot of folks working with the cartel. You ever seen the show Locked Up Abroad? A lot of Americans trying to make an extra buck, work with them, and they come through ports of entry. So even if you build a wall, they're they're smuggling in their car tires or whatever, but they're coming in through ports of entry. They're not running across the desert with a backpack full of coke on their back. So the border ain't going. I mean, the wall would not stop most of that. Let me read this to you. I want you to respond to this. This is coming from Incredible on YouTube. Why is everyone fixated on Kamala, whether Kamala is black, instead of Trump doubling down on police immunity at the National Association of Black Journalists is not getting enough attention?
Yeah.
Now, Trump has promised to give police immunity from prosecution. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so it is an insane idea. I mean, if that were to happen, like people are not going to take that laying down, right?
Well, they may take it laying down like George Floyd.
Some people will, right?
Yeah.
Other people are going to utilize that Second Amendment.
Yeah.
Because people have this idea that folks on the left aren't packing, which is not the case.
A lot of people believe that, yes.
Yeah, it's absolutely a horrible idea. What we just saw with Sonia, what we saw with George Floyd, like we're saying that those guys would all walk free. Absolutely insane. And then I guess to address the other point, I've never felt more confident in this election that MAGA is going to lose, and until very recently when they've gotten really obsessed with talking about Kamala's heritage, which is it's absolutely unhinged. It doesn't make any fucking sense. First of all, right? Like, she's biracial. I don't know how they don't understand that biracial people exist. It's a bad fucking look. But yeah, man, I don't know. It just I don't know who do you think they're persuading? Like, who do you think this is good for? To pretend that they don't understand that biracial people.
Yeah, I don't. At this point, I will agree that I don't believe constantly suggesting that Kamala is not black. That ain't helping his candidate, because it's pretty clear at this point the black community views her as black. So the only people that is cheering that on are people that he already had in his corner, and they're mostly not black people.
Yeah, and let me ask you this, because it tells me a lot about how someone responds, all right? And I guess people listening in, they can think this one through, all right?
Fair enough.
All right. So say you're buying 2 items, and the total is $1.10. One item is $1 more than the other. How much does the most expensive item cost?
You got me fucking right. Okay, say that again.
All right, you're buying 2 items.
Right.
The total is $1.10.
Right.
The most expensive item is $1 more than the other item.
Well, shit. One of them is 10 cents, and the other one costs $1.
No, because then to think about it,
oh wait, but that's 90 cents. That's 90 cents.
Yeah.
Oh,
all right. So
now I got to think. I get your right off the bat. I'm thinking that way. It makes sense. I get you now.
Yep. The reason I ask people that because I like to see do people question the obvious answer at the top of the head?
No, we don't. Not, especially when we're running a fucking show. We're not ready to. But you did get me. You got me. I figured it out the minute you said. Yeah. I'm not savvy enough when I'm running the show. But what is the answer?
On that.
What is the answer?
It's $1. It'd be $1.05, and the other item would be 5 cents.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I got to move it on. Nate.
All right.
Good debate. Thank you.
Nice seeing you, man.
You too. Moving on the program. Real quick, because I had one of my frequent viewers that's in the comments oftentimes. I don't know if she's tuning in right now, but I just want to play this because she basically suggested that I didn't know what the hell I was talking about, which I don't mind. We talk oftentimes behind the scenes in the DM. She is MAGA, and she criticized me heavily for many of the videos where I suggested that Trump wants to give police immunity. And she stated, I've looked all over the internet and I can't find it anywhere. I haven't seen anywhere where Trump wants to give immunity. You know, you're making up shit. So I do want to play a quick clip just to tackle that point.
We're going to rebuild our cities and become a beacon of hope, safety, beauty, better than ever before. We're going to rebuild our cities. We're going to work with Democrat mayors who are running, in every instance, running them, Democrat mayors and many Democrat governors, and we're going to rebuild our cities. We're going to bring them back like they used to be. We're going to make them safe places again. We're going to give our police their power back, and we're going to give them immunity from prosecution. So they're not prosecuted for doing their job. We'll take over the horribly run capital of our country.
So there you hear it. Real quick, just my humble opinion or my own description of what he's talking about there. He's going to be, notice he said he's going to be working with liberal politicians, liberal mayors, liberal governors, and things like that. He's stating he's going to do it to lower crime. Now, he's not talking about crime in rural Alabama. He's talking about crime in liberal cities, Chicago, Philadelphia, New York, Detroit, places like that. Because he made it clear he's going to be working with liberal politicians to do it. Obviously, you know what this means. Who commits all of them crime in liberal areas? I'm not going to sugarcoat shit or try to deny facts. It's African Americans. It's African Americans. The majority of crime committed in liberal cities is being done by black folks and minorities in general, but mostly by black folks. And what he is suggesting is to solve that, to reduce crime in those areas, he's going to send police in with immunity. That's it. That's what he's basically saying. I'm going to lower crime in liberal areas by giving the police immunity. You can take that any way you may, if whether you think it'll work or not. I definitely do not. I think it'll make things considerably worse. For the simple reason, there was a time in this country when dealing with African Americans that police had immunity. Most of our history, the police had immunity. Only until probably 60s, 70s. You go back before the 1960s, any police dealing with an African American essentially had immunity. Nothing was going to happen to you. Probably as late as the 90s, depending on who you ask, but I'll say for damn sure the 1960s. So we've had a period of time when the police have had immunity. How did it go? There was less crime committed by African Americans, no doubt, but the police were criminals. The police are treating them really bad. Looking in the comments, wow, you're really reaching. Handsome, says fucking salty minor. Appreciate the critique, but how am I reaching? Feel free to elaborate in the comments. How am I reaching? He's clearly talking about working with liberal mayors and governors to lower crime. He didn't say nothing about working with Republicans. He didn't say nothing about giving police in Wyoming, or, I mean, when you hear what he says, it's pretty easy to interpret where he's talking about giving cops immunity, is it not?
Our cities, we're going to work with Democrat mayors who are running, in every instance, running them, Democrat mayors and many Democrat governors, and we're going to rebuild our cities. We're going to...
Where are those places at? You didn't hear him talking about working with Republican governors or Republican mayors. He's talking about doing it in Democrat cities. Lowering crime. High crime in a liberal city. You don't have to listen to yours truly. What comes to mind? If you talk about a liberal city with high crime, what's the first place you think of? Probably Chicago, maybe New York, maybe Los Angeles, maybe Philly, maybe Detroit, maybe Milwaukee. These are the towns that come to mind. You can't really deny that. And he's clearly saying he's going to give cops immunity in those cities. Where is the reaching of that? I don't see it. Let me know where I'm reaching at. I'd love to hear it. Looking in the comments, I mean, basically, he's going to essentially sick cops with immunity on black people. That's all. That's really what I'm hearing. That is really what I'm hearing. Crime is higher in the southern states. Yeah, but he didn't say nothing about Republican states. He said liberal mayors and in many instances, liberal governors. He didn't say nothing about Republicans. So Republicans can probably take this with little concern, because if I live in a Republican area, he's not talking about my area. You clearly hear him. You don't have to worry if you live in, Stillwater, Oklahoma somewhere. You don't have to worry about it. He's not talking about your area. He's talking about liberal cities. You heard what he said? Looking in the comments. The only way you can make this work is to make something out of it that it is not. Fuzzer X. Fuzzer time 3, I think that says, good evening, Fuzzard, if the box brings you up. Am I getting this wrong, Fuzzer?
You're not getting it wrong at all. Well, you're getting something wrong. But anyways, no. Let's start off with, he brought up literally Chicago today. He said Chicago today.
Yeah.
When he was talking about, and he was asked directly about the immunity, when he was talking about
Stick.
Sonia Massey. Yeah, he was directly asked about her, and he either played dumb or knew very little about the entire thing.
Wow, really?
Then, yeah. So, yeah, if you haven't watched it, today, real quick, let me sum up what I did today. Today, I watched it. I watched like 90% of it, and I said, this is so outrageous. I started my own live and played the entirety, and it was outrageous. Just so, right from the very beginning, the first 30 seconds was like, oh my God, is this guy really saying this? Let him keep talking. The Democrats are going to win. Just let him talk. Just let him keep going. But anyways, thank you for the gifts, guys. I appreciate that. But he was directly asked about Sonia Massey. Is that her name? Sonia Massey, right?
Sonia Massey, yeah, Sonia Massey. Yeah, I got a 2-minute clip here. I'm going to have to listen to that. Yeah, keep going.
So he literally says, is that the water, the one with the water, right? And literally what he says. Now, either he's just ignorant to life, or he's playing dumb. And he avoided the question as much as he possibly could. So that is that. Now let's talk about the vice president for half a second. Unless you want to talk about...
No, we go right into the vice president. Let me hear it. What you got?
Vice president. The vice president doesn't matter. Ask John McCain, the late great John McCain.
Talking about Sarah Palin. Yeah, Sarah Palin.
If Sarah Palin did not make a difference in his campaign, because Sarah Palin is exactly why he did not get it.
I think JD Vance may turn into a Sarah Palin too. I think that it would not surprise me if before this election in November you started hearing Trump and JD Vance trading barbs, because we know JD Vance has said some pretty horrible shit about Trump before. If Trump decides to speak critical of JD Vance, would not surprise me if JD Vance reverts back to that.
100%. Yeah, they are not going to make it through. I would not be surprised if Trump does not make it through this nomination. I don't know. That was so bad today. That was so bad.
What do you mean by not make it through?
I know. You look at me.
What do you mean by not make it through? You think you're not talking about somebody trying to take him out, are you?
What? No. What happened to Biden?
Oh, you mean no? You mean they gonna replace Trump? Are you kidding me?
Did you watch that? No, I don't know. Yeah, do you put Vance in there? I don't know.
That ain't gonna happen.
So bad today. I mean, I don't see it happening. I mean, I'm talking a little bit out of my ass there.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
So bad today. I've never seen anything like it, and it just kept going and going and going. It started off right off the fact that I don't know the women's name, and I probably should. But the woman from ABC, she started off with saying, you've been very critical of black women, black journalists, and all this. And he started off with, you are rude. It was to the point where I thought it was satire. But he said, you are a rude woman. And I thought I was watching an SNL skit. I really did. But no, he just led off with, you are basically a rude black woman,
asking me those questions about.
Well, wait a minute. You're adding to that. Well, you're adding to that. He didn't say you're a rude black woman. He didn't you're throwing race in there. He said she's rude, but he didn't say black woman.
Okay, I apologize. Yes, you're right.
He might have been feeling that. Yeah, he might have been feeling that way, but he didn't say that.
Right, and so I might have embellished this some, but she made it very clear that you have attacked black women, black reporters. You attacked all these groups, and the first thing he did was attack both of those groups, a woman and a black woman. He attacked both of them. So she made it clear, and that's what he did. That was the very first thing he did, and said, "Wow, you didn't even say hello." Oh, he greeted.
Yeah.
She greeted him with a handshake and said hello before sitting down.
Yeah. He definitely snapped it up.
The whole thing was just.
Yeah, I gotta move it on. Fuzzers, you're breaking up significantly. I'm about to move it on. Your signal's going in and out.
Yeah, I'm lagging. I apologize.
Hey, come on back anytime. You know how we do it.
I'm sorry.
Man, not a problem. Moving the program on though. Gen X, August 4th. You got to give me some time to think about it. That might be a little close. I don't know. That might be pretty close but give me a minute. I'll think about it. I'm thinking about my schedule in my head. He was very disrespectful to the black journalist and to the venue. Yeah, but I don't know if we can throw in that he was, saying that she's a rude black woman. That's kind of ad-libbing in my opinion. But real quick, looking in the comments, I do want to move the program on. I saw your comment earlier, Martin Gingrich. You said too that when they asked him about if JD Vance would be ready on day one, you said, I don't think he heard the question properly. He was having trouble with his mic. He certainly talked about having mic trouble, but in regards to this question, I don't think that applies because he gave such a lengthy, detailed answer. I do agree that he was talking about having mic troubles, but he answered the question in deep detail.
Bad things happen. You said it twice. When you look at JD Vance, is he ready on day one?
Does he what?
Ready on day one, if he has to be.
I've always had great respect for him, and for the other candidates too. But I will say this, and I think this is well documented. Historically, the vice president, in terms of the election, does not have any impact. I mean, virtually no impact. You have 2 or 3.
Hang on, and I think I see Black Power said I don't think he heard day one. Maybe. Well, then it's his job to say you didn't hear it. I mean, then what is he answering in? If he didn't hear her say, "Is JD Vance ready on day?" Then what is he responding to? Because his questions fit her. His answer fits her question. It actually fits. It fits that he's dodging. He's talking about how he favors all the rest of them. I mean, if he didn't hear it, then what the hell is he responding to? I tend to think he heard the lady. And if he didn't hear her, then that's not smart to start blabbing off and you don't even know what the question was. You may say some shit that don't sound right. You need to get clarity on the question before you start giving an answer, knowing that millions of people is going to hear it. I actually do. I believe he heard her. Because he asked her, he asked her what, and she followed up, and then he started answering the question.
When you look at JD Vance, is he ready on day one?
Does he what?
Ready on day one, if he has to be.
I've always had great.
Yeah, he clearly heard that. She said it again, and then he started talking. He clearly heard that, in my opinion. Looking in the comments, though, by the way, I do want to move the program on. Is JD Vance prepared to be president? Well, according to Trump, it sounds like Trump is essentially saying he never even imagined him being president. As Trump said, it don't even matter who you pick for VP. That's crazy. You're 78 years old, and you're saying who you pick for VP doesn't matter? You're guaranteed to reach 82, huh? Just guaranteed. When most Americans don't. That's incredible. Stick the ruler. Good evening, Stick. So I saw those graphics. Those graphics will get attention every damn time. Stick, good evening. Stick, are you there?
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
How you doing?
Did you happen to catch this interview?
Well, I seen the snippet that you just put up with the I guess the rebuttal, because it really wasn't an answer. It was just kind of.
It was not an answer at all.
No, it was not. He went from where is he gonna fit and from day one, and he went all the way left.
Yeah.
Well, you could say right.
Didn't count.
He went all the way right.
Yeah. Didn't count. But hold on a second. By the way, didn't count. Thank you for that underwater graphic. Yeah, he dodged the hell out of that question.
Yeah, I mean, he went all the way right and went into a spiel about all of this other crap that just wasn't the answer. Just plain and simple wasn't the answer. The guy before it, yeah, like he said, he might have embellished a little bit, but at the end of the day, I think he got his point across with that. It was just terrible.
Yeah,
it was terrible.
So no chance he went into an African American forum. So what you're saying is there's no chance he may have, what he did may have gotten him more African American voters.
No, it definitely not. I mean, it's okay. So first of all, you're implying, and even you watching Fox News, I need you to stop watching Fox News. Because even you came on saying that, I'm not going to lie, it was, African Americans, we commit crimes. Yeah, everybody commits crimes, Tim.
No, come on now. I'm from the south side of Chicago. Ain't no white people over there carjacking. We do commit more crimes in black areas. Or in liberal cities, the overwhelming majority, certainly when we're talking about petty crimes. Now, if you want to talk about white collar crimes, bank fraud and things like that, that's different. But the petty crimes, the ones you see on the street, stealing copper and catalytic converters and carjacking and murders, that's us. That is us.
Well, I would say it like this. It's you're a product of your environment. And just as well as there's black folks that are products of their environment, there's white folks too that are products of their environments. And then I would even go further to say that a while back, you had a couple of guests on talking about there were more white unalivings by police than there is black unalivings.
Not per capita. Now, there are a significantly greater number of white people in the country. So, yeah, there may be more of them that get shot by cops than blacks. But when you look at the fact that the blacks are only like 13 to 15% of the population, the number of people that actually do get shot by police being black is disproportionately high. I mean, more of us face the wrath of police than whites, if you look at it per capita.
Well, if you look at it per capita, yes. But then at the same time, when you look at basically, not saying that it's not an ongoing thing, because it's like in my lifetime I've seen too many unaliving of black folks in police custody and before they even get into custody, and so with that being said, like the crime rate to me in the sense of black folks doing it, it's just weird how you just said the population of us are at 13%, between 13 and 15% of the nation, but yet we have the most crime. So is that
in liberal cities? I'm not talking about all over the country. In we don't live all over the country. In liberal cities, we do.
Well, I mean, yes, we do, and yes, we don't live everywhere, because we know as a people where it's more kosher for us to be around.
Yeah.
In a liberal city, which is normally a Democratic mayor, maybe a Democratic governor for the state, that speaks volume for the simple fact that you do have a lot of black folks living in those cities like Atlanta, Memphis, but that's a Republican city. You see what I'm saying? And the crime rate is high there. So it's not.
What's a Republican city?
Or Republican.
What's a Republican city?
Memphis. Memphis.
Memphis, the mayor of Memphis is a Republican. You sure about that?
I'm just saying in the sense of it's in a Republican state. I'm pretty sure.
Oh well, yeah, that. I mean, all of the liberal cities.
The people that run this.
Yeah, all of the liberal cities down south have Republican governors. That is true.
So my whole thing of it is, again, I feel, and this is just me, just because Memphis ain't on the scene like New York doesn't mean that it shouldn't be counted as, oh, it's rural, it's this, it's that. No, it's considered a major city in Tennessee. And then you have a major city in Georgia, Atlanta, that's mostly black. Memphis is mostly black, and the outcome is damn near the same. So, and from what my understanding is, Atlanta and Fulton and any other place has became, it went from purple to blue.
Yeah.
So if you want to say it's Democratic, if that's a bigger Democratic city than Memphis, but Memphis has just as much crime rate as Atlanta.
Yeah.
And that's the weird thing. You get what I'm saying?
I get that, but I think most people still refer to the city as a liberal city because the mayor is liberal.
Well, also these so-called liberal cities, the population is in the millions. So, I mean, people crowd to those cities because they're a mecca and they're a place of business. New York, LA. Let me give you another one. At Detroit at one point was.
Houston. I get what you're saying. I'm just simply saying in those towns, the majority of the petty crimes are still being committed by minorities.
I mean, again, I would agree, but I would tend to disagree because at the same time, you had somebody like Eminem make a movie called 8 Mile, and he was white as can be in that same liberal city, and he was committing crimes right along with those.
I didn't say all of it. Wait. I didn't say all of the crimes. I didn't say all of the crimes are committed by minorities.
Yeah, but most.
Yeah.
Most.
Yeah,
I get it. Because when you look at the demographic, even in that movie, it was one white guy. Well, it was him and Cheddar Bob. But it was 2 white guys and like 4 black guys. So they was, outdone 2-1. So at the end of the day, I get what you're saying.
And that's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is that in liberal cities, and that's what I'm saying is when Trump says he want to give police immunity to lower crime in liberal cities, he is essentially saying he wants cops with immunity to be working with black people. I mean, there's no other way around it because that's who. And we can go back and forth on who commits crimes in liberal cities, but we know who Trump thinks does it. So when Trump says he wants to get cops immunity, we know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, he's the guy that said, you remember back in the days when, we could rough him up, sick the dogs on him and all that stuff. Yeah, he wants to go back to that. He might not admit it outright publicly, but he gives his little, flares in the air with certain things that he say. And some people flock to it. Some people say, oh, what up, wait a minute. I didn't sign up for that. But they, at the end, they kissed the ring, man. They bowed to it. They accept it. They said they make excuses for him. And we don't do that on the left. And especially liberals, like you in the middle, in the sense of you see one side's point in the sense of the border and any other thing that they try to come up with to say why.
So let me ask you this in regards to your statement about they're going to kiss the ring. 96 days damn near now. It's almost midnight in my area. 96 days till election day. You think they're going to kiss the ring? You think Trump's going to pull it off?
Oh, they already kissed the ring. I mean, when he came out with the big catcher's mitt on his ear, they was kissing, they was kissing the ring before then. I mean, Tim Scott said he don't do nothing but love him, and Nikki Haley showed up to the convention. She bowed and kissed the ring and said she supports Trump. It's man. Listen, they're still a shit show. They should have signed the border deal to at least say we had passed some type of legislation. They didn't do it because why? They kissed the ring. They let Trump tell them what to do, and he's not even the president.
So is it safe to
That's
say?
not treason.
So do you feel like we likely are going to see Trump reelected in November?
No, no, he's gonna take a
He
big
said
L.
that pretty quick.
Yeah, he's gonna take a big L, man. Like the wave that came through after Kamala got her nomination or she was passed the torch. It's a wrap. I mean, then not only that, you got the heavy hitters that came out with like Oprah, and now she's got the young people involved because she got Megan Thee Stallion to come out, and you know the the Obamas are already endorsing her. So you know, it's a wrap, man. I mean, on our side, especially with the way that the fraternities and the boule is doing what they doing, it's a wrap.
I gotta say, the fact is, Kamala's only been on the scene for 10 days, and it does feel like something changed in this election. I mean, 10 days ago, there was hopeless despair on the left with Biden. It's only been 10 days. It feels like it's been an eternity. I mean, the amount of change in terms of the energy and the mindset of this race in only 10 days is astonishing.
Yes, and then like the guy said, let Trump keep talking. He's gonna lose. Let him keep talking. Let him keep saying all of that. Let him keep attacking the reporters, especially the black ones. We love that, right? We jump on that quick because even old boy said he said you're a nasty black woman, but he didn't say that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we love to jump on that because we see it. We know what it is. Like, and Kamala is that person that's gonna put him right where he needs to be, in his place or in jail, one of the two.
Wow. Let me ask you this before I move it on. This is a comment in the comment section coming from Loft, stating that Kamala is simply in the honeymoon phase. At some point, she has to run on policy and not identity. Do you think it's just she's enjoying some kind of, euphoric high right now that she's going to have to come down from?
Well, again, it's not about her high. We put her on that high. So the high that she's receiving and the reason why she's feeling so good is because the reception that she's getting. Yeah. And then the reception is not going anywhere. She's going to vote her right into office. Just being honest. And whoever she picks, just like Donald Trump says, it doesn't matter who's the VP. We got Kamala.
I think it does. I don't know why he would say that. That to me, that's an insult to JD Vance. That's an insult to his vice president pick.
I'm just giving them some MAGA humor. It doesn't matter, right? At this point, we're on the wave of Kamala. So whoever she picks, we just like, yeah, Kamala. Just like we was like, yeah, Joe. Yeah. It is what it is. And Kamala was the good choice, and she's ended up being a good first choice now. So, hey, y'all just gonna, not you, but MAGA, y'all just gonna have to catch another L, bro. Hey, you're Drake, we're Kendrick. Just deal with it.
I gotta go. All right, Stick. Appreciate you coming through. Wow, that's bad. That's bad.
Sir.
And in regards to this being the honeymoon phase for Kamala, I'm hearing that mainly in right-wing circles. I guess it's kind of, in my opinion, it sounds like something like a pick-me-up. I know things are going bad right now, but understand it's just a honeymoon phase and it'll wear off. I think that's why that's being said. But keep in mind, there's only like 3 months left. So that honeymoon phase better die off real damn quick. Otherwise, I mean, a lot of the absentee voters, like kids going to college and things like that, they can vote in 70 days. So that honeymoon phase better wear off real quick. Otherwise, it might last right into the election. And keep in mind, she hasn't picked a vice presidential candidate. Who's to say that the VP candidate doesn't extend the honeymoon phase? So want to point that out. No one put her on that high. She had the votes, said Ed G. So in other words, it's not the honeymoon phase. It's not a natural high. She actually had the votes to get there. All right, fair enough. 96 days, honeymoon phase. Like I said, I think that the right is saying that to kind of tone down the concern that a lot of people have. Keep in mind, regardless of what high Kamala Harris or honeymoon phase she may be on, JD Vance is certainly putting a lot more product in the pipe for her to smoke. She don't have to do a lot when you got stuff like what we're talking about now. This isn't Kamala Harris doing. This is a gift coming from Trump. Kamala Harris had nothing to do with this National Association of Black Journalists meeting. It's just a free gift to her. The more Trump keeps talking about she's not black, I think it's pretty clear at this point that the African American community don't like that. He needs to get off of that. Anytime from now on, he's asked if she is black or he should just simply say, I'm going to stick to the policies. It doesn't matter what her race is. That's what he should say. That he should leave that question alone. Nobody's going to run from her or run to her if you convince them that she's an Indian as opposed to black people or a black person. Just get off of that. That question is hurting him. And he should be savvy enough to understand it. There's a reason why people who don't like you keep asking you the same damn question, because they're hurting you. They're doing it as a gotcha. Anytime your enemies keep asking the same damn question, trying to get you to answer it, obviously they're doing it to get you to speak. How many times you got to keep doing that? I see in the comments somebody's not liking my answer. May Ruin said, stop giving them ammo, Tim. Well, listen, I like to keep it fair. I get it that, well, let's keep in mind, Trump is not watching the program. He's not watching the program. I wish he was. My audience might swell up and break the internet, but he's not watching the program. But yeah, that should be the response. Anytime from now on somebody asks you about Kamala Harris's race, you should tell them, look, my job is to make America great. I'm all about the policies. I don't give a damn what race she is. She's not the right thing for America. Get off the race conversation. It's not working. I think we have solid evidence now that is not working. Doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on that is just continuing to dig a hole. He needs to get off of that. Had no votes, I meant. No one wanted her in the party. Okay, Ed G corrected his statement and said that Kamala Harris had no votes. So why the hell is she there? Well, Biden stepped down, and that is I believe, may not be correct in this, but I'm going to say I believe that is the normal traditional course of action. If the president steps down, the VP steps up. And you notice the Democratic Party don't have a problem with Kamala being propelled to the top of the ticket. Now, folks will point out, well, Kamala Harris' favorable numbers were horrible. She ran for president, couldn't even get any votes or any damn thing. Why now? Well, keep in mind who Kamala is running against versus who she was running against then. Perfect example, there were a hell of a lot of Republicans that were favoring Nikki Haley over Trump. For them, they didn't like Trump. Well, guess who they're voting for now? They're likely voting for Trump. So why all of a sudden did his favorable numbers change than what they were when Nikki Haley? Well, because now it's Trump versus some liberal, and they'd rather vote for Trump than some liberal. Well, that applies to Kamala Harris as well. When Kamala was running against Biden and Cory Booker and all of those liberals, Andrew Yang, folks favored a lot of the other liberals as opposed to Kamala Harris. That's why her numbers were so damn low. But now it's Kamala versus Trump. And whether any of those folks, regardless of who they were voting for, whether they were voting for Biden or Yang or I can't even think of all of the Democratic candidates that were running back then. But now that they don't have all those other liberal choices and it's down to simply Kamala versus Trump, they're all going to vote for Kamala if they lean left. That's why her favorable numbers are much higher than they were when she ran for president. You don't have any other liberal choices for her to compete with. She's only competing against Trump. Just like, as I stated, Nikki Haley supporters who did not like Trump, many of them are going to vote for Trump now because you don't have another Republican to choose from. You only got Kamala. They're not going to vote for Kamala. So that is the answer for folks who wonder why all of a sudden she's getting love. There's nobody else to choose. Voters weren't given a chance to tell Kamala she wasn't wanted again. She's such a fraud. Well, Ed G, and that, you're not the only one saying that it's wrong to propel Kamala to the top of the ticket and folks should have got a chance to vote. Notice you're only hearing that from people on the right, because it would be greatly beneficial to people on the right if they didn't just give things to Kamala and made her earn it. Because what's going to happen if Kamala had to earn it? She's going to be fighting against other Democrats, calling each other names. And, I mean, it's only 3 months left. Only 3 months until the election. So the right would love to see the Democrats fighting for the position this close to the finish line, beating each other up, calling each other names, scratching and clawing. The way they're doing it now, where it was a peaceful transition to Biden and the whole party united by Kamala, is not in the best interest of the right. So that's why the overwhelming majority of people that say that Kamala it's wrong to just give her the job, it goes against democracy to just put her at the top. And there are people on the right. The Democrats aren't saying it, it's people on the right, because it would be in your best interest to have the Democratic Party fight it out to pick a candidate 3 months before the election. So I don't know how else to go with that. So Tim, see, you're one of Trump's African Americans. I am? Okay. Black Lives Matter and Cornel West already tried. Yeah. I think, what is the guy? Zink Uger from the Young Turks. He ran for president too. He also ran and didn't do well. There were people who tried, but we're talking about once Biden stepped down, they're saying there should have been another one. Not going to happen. And I see in the comments, T-Max says, what would happen if Joe Biden died? Well, Kamala Harris would step up. My guess is if some kind of way the right took Kamala's appointment to court and tried to say that it was unjustified or something, Biden would probably then pop up and say, here's a medical statement showing I'm not fit for office, and to get around it. Because if he is not fit, she gets the gig on default. There is no votes and all of that shit. She would get it on default. So if the right tried to challenge Kamala Harris' appointment, saying that people should get the right to vote and all of that, Biden would just probably find a doctor to say he's out of his fucking mind, present that, and then she automatically gets the job. The left wants Kamala. There's no denying that. The left wants Kamala. Brandon Freeman, thank you for the super chat, says she was placed in the spot and not voted for. Biden had no intention on a second term. He said he was staying in the race long enough to avoid a primary. That's the true story. The guy with dementia was able to do all of that. That's amazing if he did. I don't buy it. Now, there may be some people that wanted that to happen on Biden's behalf. Maybe his wife, maybe some liberals, maybe the Obamas. But my opinion is Biden wanted to run. Biden wanted to run. I don't think Biden was trying to delay things till after the primary. But if he did, damn, that's smart to have Trump waste their entire primary on a candidate that was not even going to be their opposition. Damn, he would be smart if he did that. But he has dementia. He doesn't know where he's at. He can't string together a sentence. Could he possibly be that damn acting that much in terms of his ingenuity would be that great? Possible. If he did all of that, he sure kicked the ass of people suggesting that he's out of it, because that takes some intelligence. Could be. He could have done that. I'm going to say it is possible, but I don't think so. I don't think so. But let's just say this: if he did do that, you will find out. You will find out. If Biden did do that, deliberately held out to make Trump waste that entire Republican National Convention, and with emphasis on and pick a terrible VP candidate that everybody believes he would not have picked if he knew he was running against Kamala Harris, then yeah, Biden is a fucking genius. And like I said, I do believe if what you're saying is true and that did happen, once Kamala is in there and a little bit of time goes by, you will have liberals writing books on that and admitting that. They will come out and say that. Once Once they're in the clear, they will say it. But I don't, man, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. And I see in the comments, I can't pronounce the name. He says, yep, checkmate. Wow, that would be Biden really, really getting the last laugh. By way of yes or no in the comments, type yes or no. How many of you folks think that Biden may have done something like that? By way of yes or no in the comments. Biden deliberately, played the bungling old man, knowing he was not going to run, to deliberately cause Trump to waste his entire Republican National Convention, knowing that you're going to spend your whole convention with all this fuck Joe Biden and let's go Brandon shit that's going to be irrelevant come election day. How many of you folks think he was been savvy enough to do that? It was Obama. Obama told Biden to quit. And Obama said, hell no, until they blackmailed him. You think Obama's being blackmailed? That's wild. Now, the idea that Obama may have played a part into it, possible, but I don't think Obama's getting blackmailed. Do you think hiding Biden's connective issue was fair to the public? No, I don't. No, if it turns out that he truly was. Now, keep in mind, we're asking now, if he is a damn genius. You can't be having cognitive issues and a genius simultaneously. I don't believe so. But I think they should have. I don't think there's any denying that various members of the Democratic Party felt that Biden was incapable of running the country. And they were saying that behind our backs and lying to our face about it. I don't think there's any denying that that's what was happening. Do I think it's wrong? Yeah. But I'm going to take this moment to deflect. I absolutely believe that Republicans are saying the same thing about Trump. I absolutely believe Republican politicians speaking favorably of Trump to our face believe he is responsible for January 6th, believe he lied about the 2020 election and a host of other things. I think it's happening on both sides is the point I'm making. And I do believe that once both of these candidates have probably passed on, you're going to see books coming out of both of their parties. You're going to see books coming from the Liberal Party on why they didn't tell you up front that Biden was out. Maybe somebody writes that I was going to do it, but people threatened my career or something like that. And on the Trump side, certainly in regards to January 6th and some of those other things, even some of the crimes he's probably charged with, you're going to have people coming forward saying that, I wanted to do this or I wanted to do that, and people called me and made threats to me. I do believe it's going to happen from both sides. So it is your boy, Tim. I do appreciate the 90,000. Didn't quite get 100,000 on the likes. I do appreciate those folks that were tapping the screen. But can you really believe those people? Easy money, yeah. Some of them you can. I don't buy into the notion that everybody that says something about Trump is lying because they got something to gain. I don't believe that. I know a lot of my beloved Maga side of the aisle believe that anything negative about Trump is automatically a lie. The person's been bought off. Person has something to gain. They're trying to make money on the book. Now, sometimes people can actually be telling the truth. Sometimes they can actually be telling the truth. So we'll see. But yeah, I do believe that you'll see tell-all books. I think that if Biden had a loss, you would have had a whole bunch of Democrats coming forward and saying, we picked the wrong candidate. If Trump loses, the same thing is going to happen. The same thing is going to happen. I think you're going to have a lot of folks saying Nikki Haley was the one. I think a lot of folks are going to be coming forward saying we had a moderate candidate that would have united the party, did not have the baggage of Trump, and would have likely won. I think a lot of folks are going to be saying that if Trump loses, but he may win. He may win. Anyhow, folks, it is your boy, Tim, the handsome liberal. I appreciate you folks that supported the program tonight, as always. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central. I got to get my ass to bed. I will